Good morning, honorable members. Please, this is to inform the House of the absence of Right Honorable Speaker and to indicate that in accordance with Standing Order 13.2, the Honorable Second Deputy Speaker, in the absence of the First Deputy Speaker, shall perform the duties and exercise the authority of Right Honorable Speaker in relation to all proceedings of the House until the Right Honorable Speaker resumes the chair. Thank you.
Honorable members, before we pray, we've received a message from the President. No, that's what I said. Honorable members, prayers. Almighty God, we humbly beseech thee to look with favor upon this Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. Grant that it may perform its high duty as in thy sight. Give divine guidance to the President of the Republic. Endow members of Parliament and ministers of state with discernment and vision, integrity and courage, that through the labors of government this land and people may be well and truly served, and thy good purposes for the common human life be realized in our midst. Amen. O God, grant us a vision of our country, fair as it might be, a country of righteousness, where none shall wrong his neighbor, a country of plenty, where evil and poverty shall be done away with, a country of brotherhood, where all success shall be founded on service and honor shall be given to the deserving, a country of peace, where government shall rest on the will of the people and the love for the common good. Bless the efforts of those who struggle to make this vision a living reality. Inspire and strengthen our people, that they may give time, thought, and sacrifice to speed the day of the coming beauty of Ghana and Africa. Amen. Honorable members, we have received communication from the Jubilee House, and it's addressed to Mr. Speaker and the House. That is absent from Ghana of the President. And the letter reads, in accordance with Article 59 of the Constitution, I write to inform you that I will be traveling outside the country in the morning of Sunday, the 31st October 2021 to Glasgow, Scotland, to lead the Ghanaian delegation to the World Leaders Summit of the United Nations Climate Change Conference, scheduled to be held from 31st October to 3rd November 2021 in Glasgow. Whilst in Scotland, I'm scheduled to hold bilateral meetings with His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency Mr. Jonas Gahr Store, Prime Minister of Norway, Honorable Robert Abera, Prime Minister of the Republic of Malta, Right Honorable Elizabeth Truss, MP, Secretary of State for Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Affairs, United Kingdom, and Mr. Rafael Moriano Grossi, Director General of the International Atomic Energy Agency. I will return to Ghana in the evening of Thursday, the 4th of November, 2021. During my absence, the Vice President, Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, shall, in accordance with Article 60(8) of the Constitution, act in my stead. Yours sincerely, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the President of the Republic of Ghana. Members, we move to item number 4 on today's order paper, which is correction of votes and proceedings and official report. So we will begin with the correction of votes and proceedings. We start with page number 1. Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. Page 5. Page 6. Page 7. Page 8. Page 9. Page 10. Page 11. Page 12. Yes, Honorable Member for Northtown.
I'm grateful, Mr. Speaker. The Speaker at page 12, I recall that it was the first Deputy Speaker who was in the chair at the time of adjournment, not the Speaker as has been captured here. It was the first Deputy Speaker.
Page 13. And finally, page 14. Honorable members, the votes and proceedings of the 4th sitting of the 3rd meeting of the first session held on Friday, the 29th October 2021, as corrected, are adopted as a true record of proceedings. Honourable members, may I find from you whether you have official reports? Do members have the official reports?
The Speaker, we don't have copies.
30th June 2021 and 1st July 2021. Very well. So we'll defer that one as table to make sure they are supplied. We move to item number 5 on today's order paper. Do I have the Minister for Labour Relations? Minister, may you do the honors to answer some questions. So we move to page number 3 of today's order paper. And this question, that stands the name of a member for Domiabra, Obom, Honorable Sophia Kalim Ekuokun. Honorable, the Minister is around to answer your questions. So we may take the floor to ask your question. Honorable Sophia Ekuokun.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, to ask the Minister for Employment and Labour Relations what plans the ministry has in terms of creating jobs for the youth and women in the Domiabra Obum constituency to enable them support themselves and their families. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Well. Before the Minister answers the question, I'm just drawing members' attention that the answer has been provided in the addendum paper.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as a lead policy advisor to government on employment and labor-related issues, it is appropriate that I reiterate the core mandate of my ministry. The Ministry of Employment and Labor Relations exists to coordinate job creation interventions in all sectors of the economy and promote harmonious industrial relations towards sustainable development. Contrary to the widely perceived notion that the sector creates direct productive sector jobs, the sector rather coordinates employment opportunities for decent work outcomes. Mr. Speaker, since 2017 to date, government has been working assiduously to create various job opportunities for Ghanaians, particularly the youth across the length and breadth of the country. As a result, a number of jobs have been created through the implementation of various government job creation interventions, such as Planted for Food and Jobs Program, One District, One Factory Program, Nation Builders Corps, NAPCO, Youth Employment Programs under the YEA, National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Programs. Mr. Speaker, in addition, the government is in the process of rolling out an interministerial initiative on job creation. This initiative seeks to strengthen coordination of job creation efforts across the sectors. An estimated 1 million jobs is expected to be created for the youth out of this initiative between now and 2024. And the good people of Domiabra, Obom constituency, will be a beneficiary of this 1 billion initiative. The government will soon align this major policy statement to the House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, honorable member, any supplementary question?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would like to find out from the minister, how is the ministry coordinating with other state institutions to create jobs for the youth in the Domiabra Obom constituency? Thank you.
Yeah, before the minister comes in, let me hear you, honorable member for.
Mr. Speaker, this is a house of rules. The question has been duly answered by the minister. Your supplementary question by the rules are supposed to ask questions that elucidate further answers. This is a fresh question, not a supplementary question, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let's go by the rules. Let's go by the rules.
Honorable members. Yes, let me hear you, honorable deputy leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the honorable member is completely out of order. Mr. Speaker, to determine whether the question is a supplementary or not does not lie in his hands. So you are out of order. Are you saying that the Speaker is not capable of determining? Then sit down, let Mr. Speaker determine.
Yes, honorable Sophia, may you repeat your supplementary question, please?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the minister stated that his ministry does not create jobs, but he coordinates with the state agencies. And I'm finding out that how is he coordinating with the state institutions to create jobs for the youth in Domiabra Obom constituency? That was what he said.
Honorable members, order. Yeah, honorable minister. Honorable minister, are you minded to answer the question?
Mr. Speaker, with all due respect, I want to re-echo the point I made, that our ministry is responsible for coordinating all. Take it easy.
Honorable members,
we are responsible for coordinating all government efforts towards job creation. And we do so by asking them to report to us and also supervising the job creation activities within the various ministries to ensure that indeed the report that we do get reflects the reality on the ground.
Yes, honorable Ekuokon, any supplementary question again?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to find out from the minister if he's aware that the youth in Domiabra Obom constituency didn't benefit from the planting for food and jobs and the district, one factory programs.
Yes, honorable minister. Honorable minister, if you are minded to.
Mr. Speaker, I find it strange to believe that the people of Obom Domiabra did not benefit from the planting for food and jobs. It is something I will investigate and get back to you. I am not aware of any such people not being involved.
Well. Yes, honorable member for Temale Central.
Mr. Speaker, are you the Speaker? The minister has indicated that he will find out. This house, we want to know specific. When are you going to feed this house with the information with regards to the inability of this job creation for the people of that country? Hey, Master, sit down. We want when?
Honorable, do you consider this a supplementary question?
Explanatory supplementary.
Yes, Minister, can you give us timelines?
Mr. Speaker, as I indicated, we are not the main implementers of the Planting for Food and Jobs program. In fact, the Planting for Food and Jobs program is being implemented by Ministry of Food and Agriculture. I will have to link up with them, get the exact information on the ground, and get back to this office.
Very well. Honorable Sansahi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, from the answer given by the minister, to quote him, the government is in the process of rolling out an interministerial initiative on job creation. Can the minister be specific to tell this House when this initiative will start? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, when you look at Honorable Kweopon's question, it was specifically to his constituency. Anyway, it's the employment, we can diversify to other areas. Honorable member, Honorable Minister, can you give us, they are insisting on timelines. Can you tell us something?
Mr. Speaker, as I stated in the answer, I indicated that it will be allowed in this particular house in a major policy statement to be the next major policy statement to be delivered in this house will be the budget statement, and it will be in there.
The last supplementary question I'm taking from the deputy leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to find out from the minister on the same page 5 that the government is in the process of rolling out an interministerial initiative on job creation. The question is it a confirmation that 5 years into government is now in the process of rolling out an interministerial initiative? Is there a confirmation of that?
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, my supplementary question is coming from the answer provided by the minister.
My deputy leader, please allow me to take some of the decisions.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, my question is coming from the answer provided by the minister himself, that the government is in the process of rolling out an interministerial initiative on job creation. And my question is that a confirmation that for 5 good years, the government is now in the process? Simple question.
No, with the 5 good years, I'm not admitting that question. The question is overruled. Honorable Minister, we thank you very much for attending upon the House to answer questions from honorable members. We are grateful and you are hereby discharged. Yes. Is Honorable Minister for National Security around?
Mr. Speaker,
Yes, and he's joining us in a moment.
Yes, honorable members, we are supposed to have Honorable Ufolie Siama, Minister for Transport, to be here to answer questions. Unfortunately, he's caught up in Kumasi in another transport policy in Kumasi. We know Honorable Siama has always been responsible to our questions. So we are holding brief for him. He has asked that we will reschedule his questions. He will come and answer. So, honorable members, just take it in good faith. In the meantime, honorable Minister for National Security is around. So he will. Yes, honorable Deputy.
Mr. Speaker, with all due respect, Mr. Speaker, we have only one parliament of Ghana, and this is the Parliament of Ghana. The Honorable Esiama is the Minister for Transport. He's been summoned by members of Parliament to respond to questions pertaining to his sector. Mr. Speaker, this phrase of, oh, the minister is invited to perform an equally important, nothing can be equally more important into his ministerial function than responding to parliamentary questions. Mr. Speaker, before we commenced this meetings were held. And even when we started, the Right Honorable Speaker sent a caution that we have only 9 weeks in this meeting, and therefore ministers must prioritize their activities to Parliament. So I found it very strange that, oh, the minister is attending to some policy. Mr. Speaker, if we continue entertaining such excuses, a time will come. We will spend the taxpayers' money to come and sit here, and ministers will just write to us that they are performing other functions. Mr. Speaker, with all due respect, that the question should be rescheduled. Scheduled when? We have only 9 weeks, and this is budget meeting. Very soon, Mr. Speaker, we may not be having time. Even business committee will just bring a directive that going forward, because of the budget and the nature, the workload on us, question time should be suspended. When that happens, members will not have the opportunity to perform their oversight functions. So, Mr. Speaker, we don't want to pick and choose. We did this to the finance minister, and we must do it to even all the other ministers, so that they prioritize Parliament. It's because of them, that's why we are here. Mr. Speaker, we have only 86 ministers out of 31 million. There are a lot of people here who wanted to be ministers. They are very punctual. If you don't have time, Mr. Speaker, we have a lot of my colleagues here. Even the Minister for Planting for Food, in charge of agriculture, who should be in charge of planting for food and jobs, Ogunde is here. Mr. Speaker, he's talking. In one day, Mr. Speaker, I want this House to take a definite position that ministers of state should not take us for granted. And when we invite them, Mr. Speaker, you can see that the Minister for National Security, he gave us about 11:30, he will be here. Mr. Speaker, he has prioritized us and he has come. Came late. And I believe other ministers will take a cue from that. Mr. Speaker, I end here.
Yes, Deputy Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I think the Honorable Deputy Whip for the NDC caucus got the excuse of the minister wrong. He had indicated to the table office that the communication of our summons actually got miscommunicated and it was rather late. So it will rather be unfair to unduly blame him, because at the time it got to him, this policy meeting had been scheduled. So he pleaded that since you have just brought this to my attention, please give me Wednesday. So it is yes. So he's not saying that it should not be at all. No, he hasn't said so. But I think the communication was where the problem was. So please, yes, not today. Not today. Because it was just brought to his attention that the thing has been scheduled for today. So that is where the communication was a problem. And you know, our table office is not allowed to join in our debate. This is an administrative matter. Let us deal with it administratively and ensure, now that he's been put on notice, ensure that true to his word, he gets back to the house tomorrow to deal with the matter. Mr. Speaker, you know that Honorable Esiama has always attended upon this house. You know that. You know. Mr. Speaker, I think Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim must allow the space for the National Security Minister to, carry on. Yes, he's here. He told us that he will come at 11:30.
Yes, very well. Honorable Mutala, what else?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in fact, I wouldn't have commented on this issue, but the fact that he had to abandon his responsibility to answer questions demanded by the people of this country in this house, in place of a meeting which we do not know which meeting. As far as I'm concerned, there can't be any important schedule or a meeting that the minister should be attending to than answering questions. The members of parliament who are demanding response from the minister, they are demanding the response from the minister for and on behalf of the people of this country. There can't be any excuses, and this attempt to tell us that the minister is someone who is forthcoming, for me, is neither here nor there. I think that there should be sanctions, not only to this minister, to any other minister who will disregard his core responsibility deliberately.
Yes.
Deliberately.
Yes.
I mean, this denial of the constituents to have an appreciation of the questions they're asking, I think is unacceptable, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, honorable members. I think this particular issue, the speaker himself alluded to it when we came back. I just put in a word with respect to Honorable Ufo-Esiama. Personally, I've observed him very, very responsible to this house. So if today he's not here, please, I'm not taking away whatever comments members have made. But I'm saying this particular minister has been very responsible to this house. We hope his answers are going to be, his questions are going to be answered in due course. So please, honorable members, let's allow Honorable Minister for Transport, for National Security to respond to a question from a member of this house, that's Honorable Peter Tu, MP for Wild West. So, Honorable Member, the National Security Minister is around. You may take the floor and answer your question.
Right, Honorable Speaker, thank you so much for the opportunity. I rise to ask the Minister for National Security the state of the project in which CCTV cameras were to be fixed in all police stations across the country. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker, video surveillance systems, the CCTV cameras, have become a very critical security tool for monitoring, providing real-time surveillance, and aiding security agencies to effectively identify and also to respond to security threats all across the world. Mr. Speaker, it is for this reason that the government of Ghana, through the Ministry of Communications and Huawei Technologies Company Limited, signed a contract as far back as 2012 for the establishment of the first phase of the Integrated National Security Communications Enhancement Project, the Alpha Project Phase 1, which sought to install a network of CCTV cameras and cellular technologies to enhance the operational efficiencies and cellular efficiencies of the security and intelligence agencies of the country. Mr. Speaker, that phase of the project delivered about 800 CCTV cameras in Accra, Kumasi, Takoradi, and some critical border areas like Aflao, Elubo, and Paga. Also, other critical national installations and some major towns across the country were covered. It also delivered a national command center and other operations centers for emergency response and command and control for law enforcement, security and intelligence, and also for emergency response agencies. Mr. Speaker, that project was successful, largely successful, enhancing the communications of the various agencies and also assisting to detect crime, road infractions, supporting major public events, providing evidence to support investigations and prosecution of many cases where some details were captured by the CCTV network. Mr. Speaker, the government of Ghana, again through the Ministry of National Security and Huawei Technologies and China Machinery Engineering Corporation, in December 2018, again signed a contract for the implementation of the second phase of the project, which sought to further enhance the capabilities of the system, and specifically by installing 10,000 more cameras and extending its cellular capabilities to every district across the country. This phase, Mr. Speaker, commenced in January 2020 and was initially scheduled to be completed in 18 months. However, due to logistical challenges introduced by the COVID-19 pandemic, project completion is now slated for December 2021. Mr. Speaker, to date, installation works of about 6,500 cameras have been completed, with a little over 4,000 cameras powered and online, mainly in Accra, in Kumasi, and other regional capitals. Mr. Speaker, this has aided considerably to the achievement of many successes in detecting many infractions and criminal activities, including helping us to solve recent violent crimes such as armed robbery and kidnappings. Mr. Speaker, as part of this project, His Excellency the Vice President Dr. Mohamed Bawumia in February 2018 announced plans by government to fix CCTV cameras in all police stations across the country, a plan that is integral to the rollout of this phase of the project. Currently, Mr. Speaker, the police have some 900 police stations in total operational areas across the country. And this phase 2 project is providing CCTV coverage for all 432 regional, divisional, and district police stations out of the 900 to enable monitoring of these installations. And the remaining stations, Mr. Speaker, would be covered in subsequent phases of the project. The rollout is currently ongoing, and if I can repeat, all 432 stations will be completed before close of the year. Mr. Speaker, even as brisk efforts are being made to complete the existing phase, the relevant planning works are also being carried out to pursue additional phase deployments of cameras to cover the outstanding areas that cannot be served under this phase. And Mr. Speaker, if I can add, an assessment of CCTV deployments across the world indicates that countries with enhanced security have a greater saturation of cameras per citizen for security and surveillance purposes. As per research carried out in 2020, the city of London, for instance, has 73.3 cameras per 1,000 citizens. Beijing, Mr. Speaker, has 55 cameras per 1,000 citizens. In India, New Delhi has 33.7 cameras per 1,000 people. Ghana, Mr. Speaker, is currently doing less than 1 camera for every 1,000 citizens. And I believe the nation needs to make the relevant investments in the sector to enhance our security. Mr. Speaker, it is expected that a phased approach by Ghana would enable us to deploy the right level of CCTV camera saturation that would make us, we believe, more effective and more efficient in delivering a safer Ghana to live and to conduct business in. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, honorable member and honorable members, I believe we've been given a elaborate answer. So I think we are not going to have any supplementary question.
Probably one or two. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable, are you having a supplementary question?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I do have some supplementary questions.
Anyway,
thank you, Honorable Minister, for the very elaborate answer. I think that I'll borrow it from Mr. Speaker's own statement. Mr. Speaker, the life of the police officer is so crucial to the point that when government promised to get all police stations connected via CCTV camera, it was quite an exciting time. I want to ask the Minister, can you give us a timeline? When will this project be complete? So that every police officer sitting in every police station, any police station in this country, will feel that he's connected to a particular emergency center and his life is protected by the state. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the honorable member is right. It will be in everybody's interest if we were to have CCTV cameras in all the police stations that we have in this country. And that certainly is the objective. That is what we're working towards. In this second phase that we are working on, we're hoping that we will have a third phase. But in this second phase that we are working on, and as I said, we have some 900 police stations across the country. And in this phase, we are going to provide for all the 432 regional, divisional, and district police stations out of the 900. We are unable to provide for all the police stations in Ghana. That is the objective. We hope you will reach there under the phase 3. But in this particular phase, we will be unable to reach all the police stations. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you. Yes, honorable member.
Mr. Speaker, I just want to say thank you very much, and thank you to the Minister for attending upon the House. I will not ask further questions. I know his capacity, and I believe that he will do better. Thank you.
Thank you, honorable member. Let me come to honorable member for, is it Jomoro?
Elembele.
Elembele.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in the minister's answer, stated that the first phase has suffered logistical delays due to COVID-19. And as a result, the completion date has been moved to December 2021. He also stated that there are subsequent phases being planned. What was not stated was where we are, whether or not that is really in motion, and when that second phase will start, whether there's funding available. Can the minister provide those answers?
Minister, did you get a question?
You didn't hear me. Let me repeat it. Did you?
I heard him. Mr. Speaker, the ongoing second phase, we're hoping to complete everything by the end of this year, December 2021. Thereafter, we're hoping that we can have a third phase. As I said, we are today doing only about 1 camera per 1,000 persons. It's not good enough. We're hoping that we will get into a third phase, but we have still not come to the House to give details of the third phase. At the appropriate time, we will come to the House to give details and to ask for the support and permission of the House to undertake the third phase, which we believe will add many more cameras to what we will have now. By the end of the year, remember, we will have about 10,800 cameras. We started with 800. It was a very beautiful project. Somebody had the foresight to do that. Without these CCTV cameras, our ability to fight crime is extremely limited. So it was quite a good effort we started. We've been able to add 10,000. We're hoping that we can add much more during the third phase with the support of this honorable House.
Yes, let me come to Southton. K2 South. Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to know from the Honourable Minister if there's any part of the data that you can share with this House that is not going to affect your primary work, but assist us as legislators and major stakeholders to help you address some of the issues that are captured through these cameras. I'm saying this because if there's high crime, for example, in my constituency, if I know some parts of this information, I'll be guided to include that kind of information in my engagement with the community so that we become a part of the institution that you serve and also help in addressing the issues that arise out of that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable.
Mr. Speaker, I'm unable to disagree with the honorable member. I think this is something that we will discuss with the committee, with the House committee, and see whether it would not be advisable for us to do that.
Very well. Let me come to Okaikwe Central.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to refer the Minister to paragraph 9 on the other paper for his answers, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Minister in his answer stated that, 432 police stations are left to be completed. It also means that we have over 468 police stations to be taken care of under this program. I would like to find out from the Minister steps that he is taking to capture the remaining police stations on the program. Thank you. Very much. Paragraph 9. If I should read your answer, you said currently the police have some 900 police stations in total, operational across the country, and this phase 2 project is providing CCTV coverage for all 432 regional, divisional, and district police stations out of the 900. So if you subtract 432 from the 900, you have 468 police stations unattended to under this program. And I'm finding out from you what steps you are taking to take care of the remaining police stations. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we do have about 900 police stations in total in the country. Out of this 900, 432 of them are regional, divisional, and district police stations. We're hoping that we will be able to cover all the regional, divisional, and district police stations, which come up to 432. We will then be left with about 468, which we hoping will be captured under the third phase of the project when the House gives us approval to roll out the third phase sometime next year.
Yeah, let me now come to Northton.
I'm grateful, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think for the record, we need to commend the Minister and the government for continuing with this project, which started in 2012. I want to find out from the Honorable Minister if he's able to share with this House the cost of this project so far, the total cost of this project, the phase 1 and the phase 2.
Honorable Minister, I'm not admitting this question. If he wants, Honorable Minister, I'm not admitting this question. You can file a separate question for that, so that you can get elaborate answer as you have given us. So, Honorable, I will entreat you to file a separate question if you really want to do that. Let me come to Ablik Masoud.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is a House of Record. And when I was listening to my good friend, the Minister of National Security, he indicated that somebody started this project and it has been continued to where we are. But he did not give us the name. He said somebody in his wisdom started this project. So I think this House of Record, we need to know who that person is.
Mr. Minister, I don't know whether... Honourable Member, can you repeat the question, please?
I'm saying that my good friend said somebody in his wisdom started this project. And now we are where we are. And we want to proceed to add to it. So I'm saying that since this is a House of Record, we would like to know who initiated this project.
Mr. Speaker, let me say that.
Anyway, Mr. Minister, you can answer it.
Mr. Speaker, let me say that this is one of the most useful projects that has been undertaken in this country, and I will always be very, very grateful and thankful to whoever came up with the idea. I don't really know who came up with the idea, but that was during the time of the NDC, and I believe it must have been probably the minister in charge of, or the national security advisor, or the national security coordinator, one of them, or somebody started. But I think Mr. Speaker, I think it is worth confirming that this was an excellent idea and it was beautifully carried out. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker,
Honorable member for South,
Abrikma
South, you've exhausted your time. This is a supplementary question. You have only one. One opportunity. I'm not taking any information. Yes, Honorable Minister, I would like to thank you for attending upon the House to answer this urgent question. We are so grateful to you. You are discharged. Yes, honorable members, we have some statements. The first statement stands in the name of a member for Offenso South, Honorable Dr. Yao Opoku, on the unprecedented achievement of cocoa production in Ghana. Cocoa Board deserves commendation. The topic is, and I'm repeating, listen carefully, the unprecedented achievement of cocoa production in Ghana. Cocoa Board deserves commendation. Honorable member, you have the floor. You may read your statement.
Yes, Ahmed sit. Yeah.
I was just like we said the other day that before members make statement, they should give copies too, so that we can make meaningful contribution.
Whether we said it or not, I think it's proper. That honorable member, have you shared some of the please do that, quickly do that, so that so honorable member, you may read whilst the whip is sharing. Honorable member, you may read.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for granting me the opportunity to make a statement on the unprecedented achievement of cocoa production in Ghana. Mr. Speaker, at the close of the 2020-2021 crop season, graded and sealed cocoa beans purchased by Ghana Cocoa Board stood at 1,045,500 metric tons, 1,045,500, thus breaking the 10-year-old record of 1,024,526 metric tons, 1,024,526, set in the 2010-2011 crop year. Interestingly, Mr. Speaker, it was a crop year that has serious global challenges, including the adverse impact of the COVID-19 pandemic and the global financial meltdown. Mr. Speaker, Ghana Cocoa Board, our gallant cocoa farmers, and indeed all our cherished stakeholders of the cocoa industry, whose toil and immense sacrifices have made this historic feat possible, deserve high commendation. Mr. Speaker, history tells us that the first recorded export of cocoa beans from Ghana was in 1891, and a total of 36.3 tons was exported. Ghana became the world's leading producer of cocoa in 1910, and for 66 years, that is from 1910 to 1977, Ghana remained the world's leading producer of cocoa, with production reaching an all-time peak of 580,000 in 1964-1965, and a market share from 30 to 40%. Thereafter, production started to decline and reached the lowest level of 158,000 tons in 1983-84, which constituted just 9% of the world's production. Mr. Speaker, the unprecedented level of cocoa production we are witnessing today is as a result of pragmatic programs and initiatives by the Ghana Cocoa Board. First was the National Cocoa Disease and Pest Control, CODAPEC, popularly known as mass spraying, in the 2000-2001 crop year to control important diseases and pests of cocoa. And secondly, the high technology, also known as high-tech program, in 2003-2004 to improve the soil fertility in cocoa farms. Mr. Speaker, as a result of the mass spraying and the high-tech programs, production increased from 389,000 tons in 2000-2001 at the inception of the program to 735,000 tons in 2003-2004 and an all-time high of 1,024,526 metric tons in 2010-2011 crop season. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, production started declining once again from 2011-2012 crop season, mainly because of the devastating effect of the cocoa swelling shoot virus, overaged and unproductive farms, illegal mining, smuggling, and the decline in population of the insects responsible for natural pollination of cocoa. Between 2011 and 2012 and 2019-2020 season, production dropped from over 1 million tons to an average of 842,000 metric tons annually. Mr. Speaker, Ghana Cocoa Board once again introduced new productivity enhancement programs to address the emerging challenges. Cocoa Board has demonstrated that it is possible to increase productivity per hectare significantly without necessarily expanding the area of land under cultivation. The control of CSSVD, which is ongoing in the 7 cocoa growing regions in the country, has contributed immensely towards the growth of the cocoa industry. So far, 35,000 hectares of CSSVD affected areas have been treated and replanted with high-yielding and disease-tolerant planting materials. Some of these new plantings, particularly those in the Western North region, have started bearing and are contributing significantly towards the current unprecedented level of cocoa production. Overaged and unproductive farms are also being rehabilitated. Mr. Speaker, hand pollination was one of the key productivity enhancement programs introduced by Cocoa Board in the 2016-2017 crop season. The hand pollination program has become overwhelmingly successful. The average yield of pollinated farms have increased from between 250 to 450 kilograms to 700 to 2,500 kilograms per hectare. Another important productivity enhancement program was the mass pruning program introduced in the 2017-2018 crop season. In the 2020-2021 season, the mass pruning exercise was scaled up to cover 100% of all productive cocoa farms in the country using motorized pruners. The positive effect of the mass pruning exercise was abundantly evident throughout the country. It did not only boost flower production, it also naturally controlled important fungal diseases, particularly the severe form of black pod disease, mistletoes, and important pests. Mr. Speaker, as a result of the change in population dynamics of some important pests on cocoa, Ghana Cocoa Board reviewed the mass spraying program in 2017-2018 crop season to include an early application of insecticide in May and June. This new spraying regime targeted the control of some emerging pests, particularly the sucking insects such as Pseudotheraptus devastans and Bacteria species, which were responsible for some significant losses of both mature and immature cocoa. In order to improve microbial activities in the soil, Mr. Speaker, Cocoa Board also banned the indiscriminate application of herbicides on cocoa farms, which hitherto was destroying micro and macro fauna and flora and the accumulation of organic matter. Mr. Speaker, climate change and the associated menace to agriculture keep threatening efforts at increasing cocoa productivity.
Honorable member, there are so many meetings going on in the House. Please, let's listen to him.
Right Honorable Speaker, climate change and its associated menace to agriculture kept threatening efforts at increasing cocoa productivity in Ghana. Consequently, Cocoa Board introduced the pilot irrigation program in 2017 to address the soil moisture stress in cocoa farms. The main objective was to provide continuous supply of moisture to cocoa trees to ensure high productivity all year round. A good number of farms and seed gardens have benefited from the irrigation program. Mr. Speaker, the implementation of the living income differential by Ghana Cocoa Board in the 2020-2021 crop year was a huge boost to cocoa production. The living income differential resulted in unparalleled rise in cocoa producer price from 515 Ghana cedis per bag of 64 kilograms to 660 Ghana cedis per bag, representing a whopping 28% increase. The introduction of the electronic scales at all buying centers across the country has also given farmers the assurance that the long-standing scale manipulation menace usually perpetrated by purchasing clerks has come to an end. Farmers are now guaranteed value for money. Mr. Speaker, Cocoa Board has made cocoa farming very attractive. The much anticipated Farmers' Pension Scheme has started in the Western South and Ashanti region, and its expansion to other regions is a matter of course. This scheme will help our cherished cocoa farmers enjoy decent and sustainable pension when they finally retire from active cocoa farming. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, we say well done, Cocoa Board. Well done, our cherished cocoa farmers. Well done, all the industry players. We encourage all the stakeholders to continue to work hard to sustain the new level of productivity. We also hope Cocoa Board will put in the necessary measures to address the delays in payment of cocoa purchases, which characterize the 2020-2021 crop season. Mr. Speaker, once again, I thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, you know this is a statement and should not engender any debate. Hello, honorable members, I'm just cautioning us. We are going to allow members who are desirous to comment, but I'm saying it shouldn't engender debate. That's what I'm just cautioning. Yeah, let me invite honorable. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I need your guidance on the rule. The statement, my understanding is that it's made under Order 72. Now, a statement made under Order 72 by a minister is not supposed to provoke debate. If I may read the Order 72, a minister of state may make an announcement or a statement of government policy. Any such announcement or statement should be limited to facts which it is deemed necessary to make known to the House and should not be designed to provoke debate. At the stage, any member may comment briefly, subject to the same limitation. Now, Order 72 states that by the indulgence of the House and leave of Mr. Speaker, a member may at the time appointed for statement under Order 53 order a business, explain
a matter of personal nature or make a statement on a matter of urgent public importance, any statement other than a personal statement may be commented upon by the member for a limited duration of time, not exceeding 1 hour. The terms of any such proposed statement shall first be submitted to Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, my understanding is that this statement is made by a member under Order 72. So, the idea that such a statement is not to provoke debate is not within the ambit of our own standing order. Mr. Speaker, for this view, I'm seeking your guidance on this issue.
Honorable Member, what you read is just to allow members to comment. So you are commenting. It's just a harmless like that. You shouldn't jump into debate, because I could sense the views of the members. So what you read, Honorable Member, what you read does not actually say that this is a debate time. My ruling is that I'm saying members may comment, not to engender debate. Please, let's do that. So, Honorable Leader, are you commenting or you are?
Mr. Speaker, I want to seek your opinion on the guidance you have given. That yes, in commenting, it should not provoke debate. But, Mr. Speaker, if the statement itself has provoked debate by saying that unprecedented, which is debatable, Mr. Speaker, what do you say to this one? The statement itself has provoked the debate. Now, members in commenting would disagree with that statement, that what the statement is about cannot be described as unprecedented. In that case, they'll be debating. What is your guide on this, Mr. Speaker?
Honorable Leader, we are in the same page. I'm insisting you should comment. So if your comment is going to say something contrary to what the statement is, that's fair enough. But I am saying we shouldn't provoke debate on this matter. Members will be allowed to comment. That is my ruling. So, Honorable Member for Doc, did you? Doc, are you ready to speak?
Speaker, I yield to the ranking member.
Honorable members, please allow me to steer the affairs. Doc, are you ready to speak?
I yield to the ranking member.
I am going to give Honorable Eric the opportunity to speak, but I first and foremost saw. Honorable members. No, Honorable Eric will definitely speak. Please. Anyway.
Mr. Speaker, looking at the nature of the statement, I think leadership must assist you in maintaining order in the House. If we can agree on maybe 4-4 or 3.
So I'm giving 2-2. 2-2, then the leadership can also add up. So 2-2. So Honorable Poku, you speak, but you are not starting the comment.
Speaker, if on such statement, I think members must make renditions that are going to support or assist the sector ministers in formulating their policies. So if we can take the ranking member, the deputy ranking member, and one other person, so that it will be 3-3, Mr. Speaker, it will go a long way to help government.
Leader, I'm saying 3 inclusive of leadership. So 2 other members plus a leader. Fair enough.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I'm not here to start with Eric.
Thank you very much.
Eric, I'm not starting with you, please. Yes, Honorable Member.
Mr. Speaker, if it is 3-3, then the Chiefs have the opportunity to give you names. Since you are saying 3-3.
Yes, okay. Very well.
So, Mr. Speaker, in that regard, we take Honorable Erikopokun, Honorable Sansiain, and Honorable Akano.
Very well.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to comment on the statements made by a colleague from the other side. Mr. Speaker, this is a house of records, and everything that we say here must reflect on the records available to this house. Mr. Speaker, in 2012, total cocoa production in this country was 835,000 metric tons. That was the time President John Dramani Mahama took office as the president of our nation. Mr. Speaker, at the end of 2016, cocoa production was 969,500 metric tons, indicating that over the 4-year period, cocoa production in Ghana increased by 134,500 metric tons. Mr. Speaker, this has never happened in the history of cocoa in this country. In 2017, a new government took office, Nana Akufo-Addo and the NPP. And Mr. Speaker, at that time, cocoa production was 969,500. Today, they are talking about 1,045,500, indicating that over the 4-year period, cocoa production has increased by 76,000. And we are being invited to celebrate 76,000 against 134,500 over the same period of time. Mr. Speaker, how would you describe this as unprecedented? In any case, Mr. Speaker, before you produce cocoa, you invest in the process. And the cost of producing that quantity of cocoa is also very important. And this House must also consider that. The Auditor General has reported in the 2019 Auditor General's report, Mr. Speaker, that in 2017, when the NPP took office and started managing Cocoa Board incurred a loss of 162.8 million Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, in 2018, it is reported in the 2020 Auditor General report that they incurred a loss of 84.8 million Ghana cedis after the Finance Ministry has given them a bailout of 176 million Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, 2019 is worse. Ghana Cocoa Board incurred a loss of 320.6 million Ghana cedis. This has never happened in the history of cocoa in this country. Mr. Speaker, Cocoa Board has never been mismanaged like this before. In fact, as we speak today, Ghana Cocoa Board is soaked. It is steeped in debt, and Cocoa Board is owing over a 40 billion Ghana cedis, which has never happened in this country.
Honorable, hold
How
on.
can you say that?
Honorable, hold on.
Mr. Speaker, I rise on a point of order to the effect that, Mr. Speaker, to the effect that the honourable member on his feet is in breach of Order 72. Mr. Speaker, the terms of Order 72 is specific that you should comment on the statement. Your comments should be limited to the scope of the statement. Mr. Speaker, if, Mr. Speaker, Honorable Erikopokun, whom I came to meet in this house, knows about the rules, if you have issue about debt by a company, file a question and get appropriate answer. Don't smuggle your way through when you don't have all the full facts. Mr. Speaker, the issue is that you are not to generate debate. Don't use it to start your own statement. You know it, Mr. Speaker. So please limit yourself to the terms of the comment. Mr. Speaker, the statement was to the effect that there has been unprecedented cocoa production. Are you challenging that? Mr. Speaker, these are facts. He said so. Can you tell us that You have
honorable leader. Honorable leader.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, I'm concluding on my point of order. That Mr. Speaker, throughout his submission, he hasn't told us that the figure quoted by the maker of the statement is not correct. The maker of the statement is saying that the record as it stands now is the highest ever in the history of this country in terms of cocoa production. That is what you should commend him, Cocoa Board, on. You can't use that to start your new debate, and you know better.
Honorable members, let's have order in the House. Like I said earlier on, I knew we were going to come to this point. That's why I cautioned that we shouldn't go our way. So, Honorable Eric, please, just conclude with your comment.
Mr. Speaker, the maker of the statement raised issues with cocoa production. And cocoa production goes with investments. And this is a house of records. So in commenting, we have to interrogate the issues. And Mr. Speaker, he raised several other points which I must speak to as part of my comments. So I'll plead with you to give us ample time for us to exhaust all the issues raised in here, Mr. Speaker. It is very, very important, looking at the critical role cocoa plays in the economy of our country.
Honorable member.
Mr. Speaker,
Honorable
they
member.
are churning out.
Honorable member, Order 72 is asking us to comment. So if you are commenting, honorable members, commenting, you don't ask me to give you enough time. Just pass a comment and we move on.
It is friendly comment.
Mr. Speaker, we are developing a nation. Mr. Speaker, in nation building, the input from the minority is very important. And the Honorable Eric Opoku is the minority spokesperson on Food and Agriculture Ministry. And Mr. Speaker, like the acting leader of the House rightly put it, the Honorable Eric Opoku is our senior in this House. I came to meet him, and the acting leader also came to meet me. Mr. Speaker, we need the facts, and this is the best way to learn. When I came to this House, I was told that a time came, the minority leader of this House, Honorable J.H. Mensah, spoke for 3 hours in this House. And Mr. Speaker, it is in that regard that when the majority leader, Honorable J.H. Mensah Bonsu, and those who met J.H. Mensah in this House, when they are talking, you get to know that these are those who received the articulate under the veteran J.H. Mensah. So, on that note, Mr. Speaker, I think the freshers are all learning. We, those who are not in that sector, we are all learning. If we can give time, Mr. Speaker, to the Honorable Eric Opoku, he will help to enrich this contribution. And Mr. Speaker, we are speaking to the public. The public will, through this, have some respect for parliamentarians. That, MPs are not just MPs, they understand they are authorities in their areas. So Mr. Speaker, if you say, you should make a brief comment, then he make just a brief as business as usual. I think, Mr. Speaker, second deputy speakers do well in that regard. And you also do very well. On that note, Mr. Speaker, if you can allow him to proceed. He's bringing matters of fact, but I think you also take a cue from your guidance that he must not generate debate. We are all taking notes. The 1 million tons, 134,000, the 76,000. Mr. Speaker, I'm jotting them down. So if you truncate him, it's like I'll be halfway cut off. If you can allow him to proceed.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker. You see, those who were in charge of the rules knew what they wanted Parliament to do when they expressly provided for comment to be made on statement. Mr. Speaker, it is the right of Honorable Eric Opoku to make a statement on issues about the cocoa sector. Far right. Nobody can take that away from me. However, on this occasion, and on this occasion only, he is only to comment on the statement made. You cannot use that to generate your own substantive statement on the floor. It's not right. And you should know that. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim, a Pentecost elder, a respected elder for that matter, must not find a way of misleading this House by saying, because the minority has its right to be heard, same will be construed to mean that a statement made which would require comment must necessarily lead to a new statement being made. What is stopping him for filing for bringing his own statement on the House floor? If he has serious disagreements, if he thinks that certain things are not accurate, he is a ranking member on Agric. If he is worried about a matter in the cocoa sector, he should file an urgent question. But on this occasion, Mr. Speaker, I dare contend, with the greatest respect, that he can only make a brief comment, and that is what Order 72 is saying. He knows better. Mr. Speaker, don't oblige him.
Honorable Eric.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
I'm going to give time. Honorable members, I'm going to give time. Honorable members, I'm giving time. So, members who would like to contribute will have 10 minutes to contribute at most. So, Honorable Eric.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity to allow me to continue. But Mr. Speaker, it is important for this House to note that when statements are made, they must contain factual statements. Inaccurate statements must be corrected when we are commenting, and that is what must be done. Mr. Speaker, the maker of the statement spoke about the pension scheme and showered praises on Cocoa Board, and for that matter, this government. The records are available to this House. Mr. Speaker, the Cocoa Board law of 1984, which was established, which was promulgated by the PNDC, provided under Section 26(1) for the establishment of the pension scheme not only for cocoa farmers, but also for coffee and shea nut farmers. Mr. Speaker, since the promulgation of that law, governments have come and gone. None of them made the attempt to save a pesewa for the commencement of the scheme. Until President Mahama was in office, the Auditor General reports in the 2020 report that, Mr. Speaker, President John Mahama from 2013 to 2016 accumulated a whopping 28.9 million Ghana cedis for the commencement of the cocoa farmers pension scheme. Mr. Speaker, I want to put it on record today that since the NPP assumed office, the last 4 years, they have not contributed a pesewa to the scheme, yet they want to take credit for it. How can you do this? Mr. Speaker, even the Auditor General queried them. The Auditor General queried them why they have not invested the money they inherited from us. For 5 years, they did not invest that money. And the Auditor General questioned them, why have you inherited 28.9 million Ghana cedis set aside for cocoa farmers pension scheme, and for 5 years you have not invested that amount? Mr. Speaker, when you read their response, the response they provided, Mr. Speaker, you weep for this nation. And today, you sit here courageously, making a statement, taking credit for something you have not contributed anything for. How can you do this? And you are saying that you shouldn't comment? Mr. Speaker, you recall, when the MPP assumed office in 2017, they told the whole nation that the NDC, through Cocoa Board,
had awarded cocoa rows amounting to 5.1 billion Ghana cedis, and Cocoa Board was not having the capacity to pay. It was for this reason that they set up a committee to audit cocoa rows. Mr. Speaker, it will shock you to note that prior to 2020 elections, NPP, Mr. Speaker, and Nana Akufo-Addo, Cocoa Board awarded cocoa rows amounting to 13.6 billion Ghana cedis. Now, they can't even have money to pay. They don't have money to pay, and you should praise them for this. For this mismanagement, gross incompetence. Mr. Speaker, how?
Winding up, please. Winding up.
So, Mr. Speaker, what we are saying is that, in fact, even the total output we are talking about, the 1,045,000, Mr. Speaker, it is never true. We challenge them to produce the specific details. We collected data from all the buying agencies. Mr. Speaker, Ghana did not even hit 1 million. They are lying to us. Mr. Speaker, you are presiding over this. Let's put up a committee to probe into the total cocoa production in this country, and we will expose them. Mr. Speaker, the fact is that the whole cocoa sector has been mismanaged. It is verging on collapse. And as we speak, they are even contemplating on issuing long-term bonds. Mr. Speaker, long-term bonds. Phone loading as they've been doing, pushing their debt to be paid by unborn children. This is what they're doing.
Honourable member, you
and so, Mr. Speaker, to conclude, I want to say that the maker of the statement has done a great disservice to this House by misleading us and churning out issues that are totally false, absolutely untrue, just to mislead us out and to whitewash their non-performance as if they are doing something. Mr. Speaker, on this note, I crave your indulgence to refer the maker of this statement to the Privileges Committee for lying to this against.
Let me invite Honourable Osei Frimpong.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to comment on the statement ably made by my colleague, Honourable Dr. Opoku. Mr. Speaker, before I proceed with my comments, I would like to draw the attention of the House to the purported falsehood that NDC government, if it had won the 2020 elections, was going to do to Ghana. In their 2020 manifesto, Mr. Speaker, the NDC was able to tell Ghanaians that should power be given to them, they were going to use taxpayers' money to control 4 army worms, which does not affect cocoa farms on cocoa farms. And this was going to cause financial loss to the state. But I can quote, I have it here, a copy of your manifesto. I can give it.
Honourable member, hold on. Yes.
Yes, it's here. You can take it. It's here. In your manifesto, 2020 manifesto.
Yes, Honourable Leader.
Mr. Speaker, is the Honourable J.D. Frimpong telling us here in this House that 4 army worms attack cocoa production in the country? Is that what he's saying? Because if that's what he's saying, I want him to confirm. If he didn't say so, he must let this House hear. But this is the very first time that I'm hearing that the 4 army worms that attacked maize in the country also attacked Ghana's cocoa production. He should come up, Mr. Speaker, and this House of Records.
Yes, Honourable member. Yes, address yourself. And please restrict yourself to the statement.
Mr. Speaker, the 2020 manifesto by NDC 6.11.213 program to effectively tackle 4 army worms, the next NDC government, Mr. Speaker, I quote, will resume a program to effectively tackle the 4 army worm invasion of cocoa farms. Mr. Speaker, I have it here. Of cocoa farms. So if the honorable leader, Honorable Ahmed, is telling the House that I am rather turning out falsehood, I want him to produce the total document of their manifesto for us to refer and quote again on this floor for us to see.
Please, this is just a comment on the statement that has been made on the floor. Yeah, Honorable Sansahin, what is it?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think you have given enough directives to members. And I want to challenge the chairman for the Agric Food and Cocoa Affairs Committee to lay the document that is referring to for our verification. Mr. Speaker, that document has nothing to do with a statement on the floor. So, issue MPP manifesto is not on the floor at the moment. We are not discussing anything about MPP manifesto nor NDC manifesto. For you to go and bring in NDC manifesto, it means you are descending into the realms of irrelevance. And for that matter, he should confine himself to the statement on the floor.
Honourable Member, I understand your leader has already selected you to speak to the statement. So why don't you hold on? I mean, you get your time. Please, let's restrict ourselves to the statement. We are making the statement irrelevant, even though it's supposed to be a very relevant document that we are supposed to assess. But the way we are trying to play politics about it, I don't think it's the best. Let's restrict ourselves to the statement. It's a very important statement that we need to work on. So, Honourable Member, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I was glad when my colleague, Honourable Ranking Member Eric Opoku, said investment goes with production. And that Cocoa Board has been giving so much, and they have done little. That is not true, Mr. Speaker. If you go through the records of production, when NDC took over from 2008-2009 production year, cocoa production was 710,639 metric tons. Mr. Speaker, it decreased the following year to 632,037. Mr. Speaker, it was only when they got to 2010-2011 that we hit the 1 million metric tons. From there, it started decreasing again. 1,024,000 metric tons. And that is nowhere near what we turned out this year, which is 1,045,500 metric tons. Mr. Speaker, we recently took a tour to about 4 regions in Ghana here that produce cocoa. And what we saw, the committee saw on the ground, is something that we have to commend Cocoa Board for. They have done extremely well, and if this year they are bringing out, or they have been able to produce over 1 million metric tons, Mr. Speaker, I know the subsequent years, Cocoa Board in production of cocoa will do more than what they have done today. We visited Punikrom in the Western North region. We visited Abuaji Krom and some other communities over there. That place, Mr. Speaker, all the interventions are going on very well. Mr. Speaker, the mass spraying is still ongoing. distribution of fertilizers ongoing, pruning and slashing of cocoa trees ongoing, rehabilitation of moribund farms, especially in Abuaji Krom, Mr. Speaker, was a sight to see for yourself. Mr. Speaker, the cocoa trees that were cut off, or the farms that were rehabilitated, have started yielding fruit over 2 years. And the livelihood of the cocoa farmers over there, Mr. Speaker, have been improved by the supply of plantain suckers. So they are not losing much, and government, through the cocoa board, is also paying money to these farmers so that it can sustain them till when the cocoa comes to full fruition. Mr. Speaker, at one particular place, I'm quoting the exact location, Punikrom, a cocoa farmer who farms on 2.5 acres of land, Mr. Speaker, who was producing 9 bags per annum, has been able to produce 125 bags from the same acreage of farm. Mr. Speaker, these are the indications that cocoa board will do well in subsequent years. Yes, they have done well, and they will continue to do well in subsequent years. Cocoa board has done very well for the nation, and they must be commended. I must take this opportunity to commend the maker of the statement by also telling my colleague, Honorable Eric Opoku, on the other side, that they should take their figures carefully, because some of the figures they churned out were not wholly true. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes. Honorable Member for Bodi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the statement made by a colleague of this House. Mr. Speaker, we are talking about unprecedented achievement of cocoa production in Ghana. Mr. Speaker, the chairman who just spoke started comparing from 2000 and what? 2008 and so on and so forth. We are talking about 4-year period in which President Mahama took cocoa from 2013 to 2017. And from 2017 to 2021, when Nana Akufo-Addo also became in charge of cocoa production in this country. And Mr. Speaker, we are saying that in 2012, before President Mahama became president of this country, cocoa production was 855,000 metric tons. 855,000 metric tons. By the time he left office in 2017, cocoa production has increased from 855,000 to 67,500. Mr. Speaker, so if you subtract it, the 855 from the 97,500, it means that within 4 years, in which President Mahama was president of this country, cocoa production increased by 134,500 metric tons. 4 years. Nana Akufo-Addo met cocoa production at 967,500. Let's give it to the maker of the statement that by the end of last year cocoa season, cocoa production was 1,045,500, which means if they met it at 969,500, within 4 years, they only added 76,000 metric tons. You want people to clap for you for adding 79,000. Then what will you do to the person who added 134,500? What will you do to that person? Mr. Speaker, I was shocked and surprised that the maker of the statement was silent on cocoa roast in this country. I was surprised because cocoa rows contribute to cocoa production in this country. Yes. Mr. Speaker, I want to put on record that the activities that have been undertaken by MPP government have resulted in destruction of cocoa farms in this country. Has resulted in destruction of cocoa farms in this country. Go to Western North today. Go to Western and find out how cocoa activities is going on in the Western North. Cocoa farmers are crying.
Yes, everywhere.
Cocoa farmers are crying everywhere. Their children are crying. Mr. Speaker, so for the maker of the statement to come and lie to us that for the first time they have achieved so much, I mean, if you come again, Mr. Speaker, I want to support the call by the right member for Food and Cocoa Affairs that you should refer him to the previous committee for lying to this committee for further probing and investigation so that the truth will come out. Mr. Speaker, fertilizer. And this thing before we left office, we were distributing free cocoa fertilizer to cocoa farmers. In fact, Mr. Speaker, we had embossed on the fertilizer not for sale. MPP government assumed office and cancelled the note and it became for sale. And they were selling the cocoa fertilizer to cocoa farmers. But these were cocoa fertilizers that we use cocoa farmers' money to buy. Now, another government came and then sold cocoa fertilizer to cocoa farmers. As we speak, cocoa farmers don't get fertilizer to buy. Those who have money and they want to buy, they don't even get the fertilizers to buy them. Mr. Speaker, so it is unfortunate that we were talking about coordination. If you move to the cocoa farms and find out what cocoa coordination has done to cocoa trees. They have destroyed all the cocoa trees, particularly in the Western North region. You should go there and find out.
Honorable, start winding up.
These are serious matters that we should take seriously when we are talking about cocoa production in this country. Mr. Speaker, you should go there and find out. Maybe I know that maybe it's a long time they have moved through cocoa growing areas and it's not experienced or feeling
Honorable,
what
hold on.
the cocoa farmers are going through.
Honorable member, hold on.
Yes.
Hold on. Let me invite Honorable Minister for Local Government.
Right, Honorable Speaker. House of Records, we don't make such statements that all cocoa trees in Western North have been destroyed. Mr. Speaker, I have a cocoa farm in Kabiese in Akontomra. The trees are not destroyed. The trees are not destroyed. So you can't make such statements for it to be captured in our records. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, well. So, Honorable Member. No, Honorable Eric, we are not giving you the opportunity again. You've spoken a lot. Please.
Mr. Speaker, I just want to correct
Honorable Eric, no.
I just want to correct an erroneous impression.
Honorable Eric, please. Let's allow order in the... Honorable Sampson, please. The statement was too sweeping. So just restrict yourself to. You can't just say.
Mr. Speaker, I know that Honorable Dan was born in a cocoa growing area somewhere in Sankwari, but it's been a long time that he visited where he was born. And to claim that you have a cocoa farm in Kabiesi here, since when did you go to Kabiesi? When did you go there? If you want to know the truth of what I'm talking about, after today, let's move to the cocoa growing areas. You will see things for yourself. When you come back, you will stand in front of other.
Honorable member, your time is up. Please.
Please to conclude. Mr. Speaker, when NDC government was in power, we paid bonus to cocoa farmers. We paid cocoa bonus to cocoa farmers. The maker of the statement and calling from the majority to tell us since 2017 to date how much cocoa bonus have you paid to cocoa farmers? None. Zero. This labour policy has been cancelled by MPP government. Today you are calling all Ghanaians to clap for you for collapsing cocoa farms in this country.
Thank you. And well
Mr. Speaker.
Well, Honorable Member, your time is up. Please.
To conclude.
Oh, you've already concluded.
I want to end by echoing what Honorable
Hey, don't go there. Don't go there.
The maker of the statement should be invited to the Privilege Committee to answer certain questions.
Immediately.
Honorable Member, retract that statement. I mean, it's as if we are joking. Don't add that. Yes, Honorable Kwaku.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to speak to this important statement. Mr. Speaker, and it is indeed an important statement, and I commend Honorable Opoku for putting into our discussions this morning the workings and the achievements of the Ghana's Cocoa Board. Mr. Speaker, the ongoing initiative by Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire to ensure that the country has good value for the cocoa we export are all very important initiatives by the institution. But, Mr. Speaker, my colleagues have spoken extensively about the achievements of Cocoa Board, and I've also heard our colleagues, especially on the other side, speak about some of the challenges of Cocoa Board. Mr. Speaker, there's just one matter I'd like to introduce into the discussion, or elevate in this discussion. It is cocoa rules. Mr. Speaker, you see, when Honorable Opoku was speaking, he said cocoa road construction under the previous administration was criticized, but unfortunately it is still ongoing. Mr. Speaker, he's right. The construction of cocoa roads as an expenditure on Cocoa Board, Mr. Speaker, is a policy that this country will have to revisit. It's a policy that we'll have to revisit. I mean, what is the point in establishing an institution to deliver on a mandate, and then we end up assigning to that institution mandate that they really have no expertise over? And this is contributing to the financial difficulties of Cocoa Board. And I would hope, as members of Parliament, we avert our mind to these matters. As I have indicated before, Mr. Speaker, the political leadership of this country, both past and present, must make a clear decision what we want Cocoa Board to do. We must make a clear decision on what we want Cocoa Board to do. Otherwise, we risk destroying not just Cocoa Board, but ultimately the industry that Cocoa Board leads. I'd like to add to this the suggestion again by Honorable Eric Opoku that even some benefits that were indicated to be given to our farmers have not materialized. Mr. Speaker, the reality is this. One of the challenges of Cocoa Board, which in my view is threatening the industry, it is the political unwillingness to review incentives we give to the producers of cocoa, even when the returns we are getting as a country are inadequate. And when I hear him, I get a feeling that whatever it is, yes, the cocoa farmers have votes. So whatever it is, find money from somewhere and make them happy. My advice is that motivation for our cocoa farmers is very important, and we see in this statement efforts by not just this administration, but also by previous administrations to help the cocoa farmer. What we have not critically analyzed is where we are getting the resources from in order to provide the incentives that even Honorable Eric Opoku says are inadequate.
My view is that unless we sit down and review the workings of Cocoa Board again, look at the finances of Cocoa Board, we will continue doing politics with Cocoa Board. In the end, we will destroy not just Cocoa Board, but also the cocoa industry. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. The last person from this side.
Mr. Speaker, since cocoa is both, it used to be under the finance ministry until it was taken to the Ministry of Agric. We will let the former Deputy Minister for Finance speak on behalf of leadership.
So he's the last person, honorable member.
Exactly.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, any statement about the sustainability of Ghana's cocoa is something that, Mr. Speaker, all of us must take it very serious. Mr. Speaker, for over 60 years, one single commodity that has sustained Ghana's economy is cocoa. And so it's important for us to debate issues relating to cocoa very dispassionately. Speaker, I say this because there has been a number of commentaries today as to who should be honored in terms of the achievement of the sector. Mr. Speaker, what is most striking to me today is the fact that we are debating cocoa roads. Mr. Speaker, cocoa roads was criticized for a simple reason that Ghana Cocoa Board had awarded so much of cocoa roads. Mr. Speaker, we were told that it's not sustainable. At the time that government of Ghana had awarded 5.1 billion Ghana cedis of Ghana cocoa roads in contracts, the very administration that criticized it subjected it to audit, came back to office, and then awarded cocoa road to the tune of 13 billion Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, we should be worried. Mr. Speaker, in the very statement that the chairman of the Finance Committee raised, Mr. Speaker, in his statement, the chairman of the Finance Committee had said, Hold
on. Leader, we were coming to you.
Just for the record, the maker of the statement did not refer to cocoa roads in his statement. You see, you are commenting on the statement. Don't bring a new debate. You were not here when the maker of the statement presented the statement. And you are saying he said cocoa roads. He never talked about it. He was talking about the unprecedented production levels. So focus on that one and commend the efforts made in the industry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker,
yes, honorable member.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I was surprised you did not rule the deputy majority leader out of order. Mr. Speaker, I say this because he stood up when the debate was ongoing. I saw him running over. Mr. Speaker, he was not here when the chairman of the Finance Committee spoke. He wasn't here. Mr. Speaker, I saw him sitting at the back there. I was expecting him to sit as a leader of the House instead of you going out. Next time, sit down and listen to the debate. Next time, sit down instead of asking for the debate. Mr. Speaker, I am responding to the statement made by the chairman of the Finance Committee. That is what I'm trying to do. Mr. Speaker, you are the Speaker and you know that the chairman of the Finance Committee raised these very issues that I'm talking about. So you cannot rule me out of order. That your style will not work on me. So next time, don't do that again. Mr. Speaker, to continue. Mr. Speaker, to continue. My argument is simple. In the same vein, Mr. Speaker, we are aware the Ministry of Health is the one that is responsible for the award of hospital contracts. Today, what are we seeing? Office of the President is awarding contracts for hospital projects.
Honorable member, this statement has nothing to do with hospitals. Please, don't bring this into the. Please, kindly retract that. I mean, let's finish with this cocoa board issue. There's nothing about hospital issues here. Honorable member, do you have hospitals on the table? Please.
Yes, Mr.
Speaker. I wouldn't take it.
Mr. Speaker, I'm only telling him that next time, when I'm on the floor debating, you should not try to derail me, because a lot more will come out. Mr. Speaker,
please retract that statement.
Mr. Speaker, to continue on the very statement.
Honorable member, I retract that statement.
Mr. Speaker, I'm winding up.
No, I want you to retract it first.
The Speaker, to retract which one, sir?
Don't bring hospital issue. I just want you to
Mr. Speaker, sorry about that, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you know me, and I will never say anything contrary to the rules. So, Mr. Speaker, with all respect, it is important for us to understand that the chairman, Mr. Speaker, I'm withdrawing. Mr. Speaker, I'm withdrawing. Please let me land. The chairman of the Finance Committee.
Honorable Ato, respectfully, just do away with that particular statement. I don't want
Mr. Speaker, I do away with that part. I do away with that part. Mr. Speaker, it is important for the records to note that inasmuch as the chairman is advising that we should visit the issues of Cocoa Board very seriously. Mr. Speaker, I support that. I support that. That is why I started my statement by saying that anything that has to do with the sustainability of Ghana cocoa is something that should bother all of us. And we should debate it dispassionately. Because, Mr. Speaker, cocoa has been one single commodity that has sustained this country in the last 60 years. We cannot toil with issues of cocoa at all. Mr. Speaker, I want to encourage you, as the one presiding the proceedings today, to instruct or to order a committee that will look into the sustainability of Ghana's cocoa. Mr. Speaker, there has been so many issues relating to the sustainability of Ghana's cocoa. Today, we all know that Cocoa Board is in debt. We all know that Cocoa Board is in debt. It is a known secret. Everybody knows about it. Mr. Speaker, whatever we have to do collectively to ensure that the almighty Ghana Cocoa Board comes back to its feet, to be able to address the challenges and employ the teeming population of our country, Mr. Speaker, is something that we should all welcome. And I want to urge you, Mr. Speaker, set up a committee that will be able to look at the sustainability issues of Ghana Cocoa Board. Mr. Speaker, it is in the interest of the country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes. Honorable Deputy Minister for Agri.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to comment on the statement ably made by a member of Parliament for Offensive South, who I can say, without any hesitation, is an institutional memory of cocoa in this country. He has worked at Cocoa Board all his life. And when such a person writes a statement, it is something that carries so much weight. And the beginning of the comments up to this time, I've been saddened by the fact that, although I'm not the Methuselah of this house, but I've been in this house long enough, 9 years now, and this is the first time that I'm witnessing anything like this, that a statement will be subjected to so much debate that has brought about a whole lot of issues, very, very, very controversial. Mr. Speaker,
you are destroying Ghana.
It was a harmless statement that my honorable member made about cocoa production in this country. And nobody can debate that one because figures are clear here that 2010, 2011, Ghana produced 1 million.
Hold on. You see, leaders, I cannot ignore you when you get up, but at least you should allow the debate to flow, the comment to flow. Okay, let me hear you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, with respect, the Honorable Deputy Minister for Agri is my good friend. And Mr. Speaker, we are assisting you to maintain order in the House. But this is a House of Records. I wouldn't want it to go in the record that you are the only speaker within the last 9 years to have admitted a statement that has been intensely debated as this one. The Speaker is factually not correct. And I want that aspect of the statement to be expunged from the records. We have debated serious statements and very provocative, but those that invoke debate in this House, including even security statements. This is just a harmless one. And there are input which were given by MPs who have authority in their field. The chairman of finance committee, ranking member of finance committee, the chairman, ranking member on agri, giving you input. These are facts. And Mr. Speaker, the beauty of it is that they ended up by saying, refer it to a committee to assist the minister in a good direction. So if you still disagree, and he's indicting you for admitting a statement that is so provocative and that has been debated, Mr. Speaker, I disagree. And you've done very well by coming on the same day to admit this statement. My good friend, upon that aspect, Speaker has done very well and giving credit for that.
So the mere fact he said he's been here for 9 years and this only statement that is engendering debate, that is the yeah. Honorable member.
Mr. Speaker, far from that. I mean, I was very emphatic on the fact that I have not witnessed any statement that has been debated to this extent. I was very specific. I didn't generalize it. I said I have not witnessed. So I don't see how my big brother will want to bring you into this debate. And in spite of all your admonitions, people went overboard. And it is on record that everybody went overboard. I mean, seriously speaking, because the issue is about production, and it is simple. What the statement is purported to bring out is this: that 2010, 2011, Ghana produced 1,024,526 metric tons of cocoa, and at that time it was unprecedented, and everybody spoke about it. So what is the 1045, the previous one, and it falls into the same category, unprecedented, and this one should generate a debate. I thought all of us were going to encourage our hard-working farmers to do more, in spite of what the hard-working farmers of this country, in spite of the fact that about 200,000 hectares of land in the Western North region have been cut down for replanting. In spite of all that, we've been able to produce this quantum of cocoa for our farmers, and we should not do politics with cocoa, because as the ranking member for finance said, that cocoa has sustained this country in the last 60 years or so and beyond. So no, we should not, Mr. Speaker, do politics with cocoa. All what we want to say here is this: that our cocoa farmers, what are we going to do to encourage them to continue to either sustain this level of production or even go beyond it? What are we going to do? And there are factors that he outlined in the statement, including the cocoa pension scheme and all those things. Whether it was started in the previous administration or not, the fact remains that this thing is starting this year. And that is enough encouragement for these cocoa farmers to continue to work hard to bring about cocoa production to a certain level that will give Ghana the necessary dollars that we need to sustain this economy. Because at a goal, cocoa brings into this country $1.5 billion. Mr. Speaker, this House should not undermine the efforts that cocoa farmers are putting up by bringing about these issues that will not encourage them. We should rather encourage them. Mr. Speaker, if we say we are going to abide by the rules of the game in this House, before I resume my seat, I will want to admonish our friends that cocoa is so special to this country and that we should not do politics with it. And whenever cocoa issues come to this House, all of us must speak with one voice, come to a consensus. The issues are there. If there are, everybody is free to come out with the challenges, but not in the manner that it was done this afternoon. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, I thank you for the interest members have actually taken in this particular statement. My colleagues were asking me or admonishing me to make a reference to a committee. I am unable to do that. And I'm not doing that simply because come 2 weeks, we are going to witness a budget statement. And obviously a budget statement is going to capture cocoa sector. So the figures will come up, whether it's the maker of the statement who is saying the truth or whether Eric Opoku is saying the truth. So I'm not making any reference to anybody. Let's hold on till 2 weeks' time when we get the budget to at least ascertain the situation by ourselves. We will take the second statement from this one, from Honorable Kwabena Minta Akando on the excessive political scheming surrounding the approval of the District Chief Executive for Sehuji District.
Mr. Speaker,
Honorable, you may take the floor. And
Mr. Speaker, I'm most grateful for the opportunity to make this statement on excessive political scheming surrounding the approval of President's nominee for District Chief Executive of Sehuji District. This statement provides a brief overview of the processes that led to the approval of the President's nominee for the position of District Chief Executive for Jaboso District. It outlines an elaborate and ominous scheme which, if left unchecked, has the propensity to derail our democratic system from its current peaceful trajectory. A scheme that usurps the mandate of the people and substitutes in its place the parochial interests of some political actors. Unfortunately, the sinister forces behind these schemes fail to realize that elections form the core of our democratic practice and the safeguard of our national peace and cohesion. Mr. Speaker, on the 19th of September 2021, the President nominated new district, municipal and metropolitan chief executive to assist in running 260 districts minus SAR districts. This included Mr. Godfred Kwabena Ajia Sante, the President nominee for the Jaboso district, sequel to which an assembly meeting properly constituted and convened by the presiding member as prescribed by Article 2443 of the 1992 Constitution and subsection 5 of Section 17 of the Local Government Act was duly held on the 6th October 2021 with the District Electoral Commission officer in attendance to conduct the business of voting on the President's nominee. Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, the nominee at the said meeting pulled 11 yes votes out of the total of 23 votes cast, failing to cross the constitutional hurdle of the 2/3 of the votes of members present and voting as required by both the Constitution and the Local Government Act, Act 936 of 2016. In short, the nomination failed, and pending renomination by the President with reasons, the candidate was no longer to be considered as one in contention for the position of District Chief Executive. There was, however, some news on the grapevine to the effect that the President had renominated the same candidate. In response, the presiding member working proactively was able to intercept the whereabouts and an official copy of the President's letter of nominee for the position of District Chief Executive. In addition to the letter, was a letter revoking the appointment of an appointee of the President and replacing same with another as directed by the President. However, Mr. Speaker, before the presiding member could convey and preside over a meeting of the Assembly members as mandated in both the Constitution and Local Government Act, a secret meeting consisting of 12 members of the Assembly and not in consonance with the letter and spirit of both Article 2443A of the Constitution and Section 5 of Section 17 of the Local Government Act was conveyed at the official residence of the District Chief Executive. At that secret meeting, and per report gathered, the Deputy Electoral Officer was said to have been present and to have conducted voting on the President nomination with 12 exclusively invited Assembly members present. Although the actual tally for that vote was not communicated, community members were informed that the President nominee had crossed the constitutional threshold and is now the substantive District Chief Executive of the area. Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, this is neither hypothetical nor fictional, but rather a truthful account of series of events that amounted to the approval of the now acclaimed Chief Executive for the Gaboso District. This series of events delineates a well-crafted scheme, popularly referred to in the local parlance elimination by rough tactics, to guarantee approval or executive mandate which may be unfavorable to the elected representative of the people or the generality of the citizens in the district. Mr. Speaker, at the core of our democratic practice is elections, an opportunity for opposing elements to register their displeasure with how and by whom they are being governed, and any attempt to silence, muzzle, or rid citizens and elected representatives of their right to oppose decisions made on their behalf have the potential to open the doors of anarchy and lead to an open disastrous revolt. This must by all means be prevented. Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, it is not a unique occurrence, but seems to have been flawlessly replicated in several districts across the country. The plethora of locations where such horrible examples include Swaman District, Babeni Anyanso Bekwai, and Sechira Kumawu. Mr. Speaker, although MPs are non-voting members of the District Assembly, they are ex officio members of the Assembly who must be present at meetings of the Assembly. Mr. Speaker, the Kumawu MP, however, had the unfortunate ordeal of being barricaded out of the Assembly Hall where meetings to conduct elections for the President nominee for the Kumawu district was ongoing. The preponderance of such precedents and developments, as outlined, are fast eroding public confidence in the democratic practice, and frantic efforts are needed to reinstate the fast-waning confidence in the outcome of our democratic process. If efforts are not made to redirect Ghana's democratic vessel back to the path of rectitude, we may end up like the unfortunate stories of military revolts or coup d'etats and social unrest across the continent with their attendant socioeconomic stagnation and retrogression. As legislators or members of parliament, we have through democratic process emerged as voices for countless thousands. For this reason, we must raise our voices against such acts that have the likelihood of getting us back to the dark ages. For this reason, I would like to call on Parliament as a house to constitute a probe into areas where these schemes are reported to have and to propose measures to rectify the situation. This is not a cause to be left at the doorstep of the executive or presidency. This is not an issue that should only be dealt with by the ruling MPP. This is not an MPP Ghana or Nana Akufo-Addo's Ghana. This is our country, and we must cure this cancer before it kills all of us. Mr. Speaker, may God protect and preserve our democracy. I'm most grateful for the opportunity.
Well. I will admit two contributors from each side. So, yes, let him come to you. Honorable member for Bia West, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The maker of the statement share borders with Maine in the Western North region. And we swim together or we drown together. But this is larger than just an incident in Gaboso. It's a reflection of what is happening in our country. And we may think that this has happened. So the gentleman has been confirmed. He is now the DCE. But it's a total reflection on the political process in our country. When it is good, it reflects the culture and the polity in our country. But as it gets muddier, as it gets dirty, so to speak, for the lack of a better word, it means that this is not enough to limit it to Gaboso, but is a broader issue that affects the process of really our country, how we select our leaders. The framers of our constitution were very careful in making sure that a person is nominated and approved by the assembly. So where there are all these political gymnastics, some people are shut out, others are forced by the military or the police that they should not participate in voting for the nominee because they are perceived to represent a certain culture. It's a very serious indictment on the citizens because the same culture that appears in the assembly almost always translates into the main elections that occur in the country. So this is a serious matter that I think merits our attention and what should be done. The maker of this speech, of the statement, indicated that for this reason, I would like to call on Parliament as a House to constitute a probe into areas where these schemes are reported to have taken place and to propose measures to rectify the situation. Mr. Speaker, we have seen it in the press in several places, including places where sitting members of Parliament were prevented from going to the venue, or in some cases, even where they went, they were brutalized, they were threatened, and so many other things that had happened. So I support the maker of the speaker of the statement that indeed a probe should be conducted by Parliament so that we find a lasting solution to these anomalies in the process of approving district chief executives in our area. It is also gratifying to know that the presiding member of Gaboso is in court over this matter, because the presiding member is the one who is supposed to call the meeting. Interestingly, the presiding member himself was not served by the assembly to be part of that approval. Therefore, you wonder what is going on. And every MP here is a member of the assembly. I don't know how many people could indicate that indeed, on certain occasions, they were supposed to actually be at the assembly meeting. However, the MP himself, herself, was not even invited. So a presiding member in that assembly was also not invited. The issue is this merits attention from Parliament, and hopefully a probe can be instituted and lasting solutions found, as the maker of the statement had indicated. With these few words, I thank the maker of the statement and thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Minister for Local Government.
Thank you. I want to make some contribution to the statement that has been made. Right, Honorable Speaker, I think it's important we understand our local government system very well. Mr. President makes nominations. It's communicated to the assemblies. The secretary to the assembly, who happens to be the coordinating director, informs the presiding member. And by the law, the Constitution and the Act 936, the Electoral Commission supervises the election. At no point in this process is the executive president of the land involved in the confirmation process. Beyond nomination, the executive arm of government is not involved in the confirmation process. The name of the person who rightly is nominated by Mr. President is sent to the assembly. Was sent to the assembly, the coordinating director, and the presiding member of the assembly convenes a meeting, invites the Electoral Commission, and the confirmation process takes place. Right, Mr. Speaker, I will not point the executive arm of government is involved in that. For it to merit, surprisingly, a statement that has been admitted on this floor, that this is not a cause to be left at the doorstep of the executive or presidency. What cause are we talking about? The cause of the confirmation process? Which law? Which law? About what practice can anybody point out that at an assembly, the executive arm of government was involved? At what step? The assembly can only be convened by the presiding member, and the elections are supervised by the Electoral Commission. Mr. Speaker, I quote, he says, it's not an issue that should only be dealt with by the ruling MPP, totally baseless, without any foundation and unnecessary. How is the New Patriotic Party involved in this process? How is NPP involved in this process? Do you invite political parties to come and supervise assembly meetings as a
Honourable Minister, please hold on a bit. Honourable Akando, you have brought a statement. You've given time to read the statement.
That's for character. You can't talk.
Somebody is commenting and you are talking. Please, let's go. So when you finish, somebody else will.
So, Mr. President, Mr. Speaker, how is the ruling MPP involved in the process of confirmation of MNDCs? For it to appear in such a statement which have been admitted on this floor, this is not MPP Ghana or Akufo-Addo's Ghana. Totally baseless, unwarranted, and I'm surprised that this statement has been admitted on the floor of the Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. Because in the law, we make the law.
Mr. Minister.
The act is approved here. The act is approved here. You know what?
Mr. Minister, I wish you didn't go there. I wish you didn't go there.
But I'm reading what has been said in the statement.
This statement has been admitted.
Yeah, but it has been admitted on the floor, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
And this way he said that this is not MPP Ghana or Akufo-Addo's Ghana. Mr. Speaker, there's nothing called MPP Ghana, there's nothing called Akufo-Addo Ghana. And the political party, New Patriotic Party, nor the president, they are not involved in the confirmation process of the MMDC who are nominated. The laws that we made are clear. Act 96 passed by this House.
Honourable Minister, respectfully, hold on. Yes. No, not Akando. No. Let me first say.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it is very refreshing to have the Minister for Local Government give us some insights into the processes. But in doing that, you don't impugn the sense of judgment of Mr. Speaker by saying that you are surprised that statement was admitted.
You should withdraw.
I think that this is so inappropriate.
This is the only house we have.
Unparliamentary, and that Honourable Damboche is a very respected member of this House. I know he will do the right thing by withdrawing that statement. Thank you very much.
Minister, personally, I didn't take in good taste that portion. Once Mr. Speaker has admitted it, I mean,
it's been admitted, and now for one's opinion on it can be made. It's an observation.
My issue has to do
Because,
with...
I mean, a statement which is going to be published in the manuals of, of Hansard of this house is saying that this matter should not be dealt with by the ruling MPP. It's admission of the fact that a political party is involved in the process of confirming an MMDC. But that's not the case. There are 96 which we pass in this parliament. There's nowhere where a political party gets involved in this. Again, this is not MPP Ghana or Akufo-Addo's Ghana. It's allowed to stand in this house.
Mr. Minister.
And I'm saying that I'm surprised.
Mr. Minister,
yes.
I share your position perfectly, but
yes.
I wish you didn't go to that angle of you are surprised this statement was admitted. If you can take off that aspect, I would be more respectful.
I'm no longer surprised. I'm no longer surprised. I'm no longer surprised that consistent with what is happening, such a statement has been made in this house. I'm no longer surprised at all. I'm not surprised. But let it be made clear that it's full of fallacy. The process of confirmation of MMDCA is aligned in the Constitution and in Act 936. At nowhere is a political party involved. At nowhere is the executive president involved. And it is clear that the presiding member calls for the meeting of the assembly. He invites the electoral commission and the process takes place. That is it. And therefore, for anybody to make a statement that a political party gets involved in it is not only malicious, but also false.
Mr. Minister, hold on a bit. Yes, leader.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, with all due respect to the Honorable Minister for Local Government and Rural Development, this is the House of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, so long as we are sitting here, you are the one who preside. The standing orders gives you the power, the sole power, to admit statements in this House. Mr. Speaker, you have done that. Any member may make brief comments on the statements, but to raise questionable doubt on your competency in admitting statements in this House, Mr. Speaker, I beg to plead that that portion of the statement must be withdrawn. Mr. Speaker, you are the sole judge in admitting statements in this House. And Mr. Speaker, when points of orders are raised, you are the sole judge. The Honorable Bauer has raised point of order on that aspect of the statement from the Honorable Minister for Local Government. That is surprise. The Speaker, order surprise. Order Nenti. Mr. Speaker, the conduct of Mr. Speaker cannot...
What order? You wanted to...
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, time will not permit me, but to be specific. Order 93-5. Mr. Speaker, the conduct of Mr. Speaker, members, the Chief Justice, the Supreme Court of Judicature shall not be raised except upon substantive motion. Mr. Speaker, your conduct in conducting the business of the House is being questioned. The members are even surprised that, Mr. Speaker, you have admitted such a question. Mr. Speaker, I have a role to play as a leader of this House to protect, to assist you in presiding over this House, Mr. Speaker. And if anybody or any minister want to question your conduct or your competency, Mr. Speaker, I will jealously protect against that. On that note, Mr. Speaker, you have to direct the Minister for Local Government
to retract that portion about your competency. Mr. Speaker, we must give due respect to the office of the chair and the chair on which you are sitting. I came to this house together with him. We've been here for 4 terms, and we know more than that. Just as we respect him as a minister, he must also respect you as a speaker.
Respectfully, Mr. Minister,
Mr. Speaker,
kindly do away with that portion for me.
Well, I'm not going there. To satisfy the leader, I withdraw the word. I'm surprised that the statement was admitted, and I replace. I said I'm not surprised. So that statement has been withdrawn, and I'm saying that that statement has been withdrawn. What has been stated here is baseless. It is not factual. The ruling MPP does not play any role in the confirmation of MMDCs. So it is not true. You don't play the role. The statement which is made here, this is not MPP Ghana or Akufo-Addo's Ghana. That statement too has not been made by anybody. Ghana is Ghana. Nobody has said anywhere that Ghana belongs to MPP or it belongs to Akufo-Addo. But I'll end by saying, Mr. Speaker, that the Constitution and Act 96 is very clear. All that Mr. President does is to make a nomination. When they make the nomination, it goes to the Assembly. The processes are clear. Presiding member calls for an Assembly meeting. He invites Electoral Commission, and the process is done. Members can have problems of how they saw the process and comment on it. But to accuse a ruling party or Mr. President in that process is totally unfair, because we make the laws here and we should be clear what the law says. So, a presiding member who conducts the affairs and the Electoral Commission who also plays their role as Electoral Commission, they go through the process, and as of now, Ghana, we have 261 districts. So far, 251, so districts have been, MMDC have been confirmed, and I'm confident that in the next few weeks or 2 weeks, the rest of the 10 will be confirmed. Then we'll have the full complement of the MMDCs to strengthen our local governance system. And I will also urge members of parliament to be also try as much as possible to attend this, not only when they are going to confirm MMDCs. And that even though they are ex-official members, we should try as much as possible to attend and enrich the debate at the local government level. With these few words, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you very much.
Let me.
Mr. Speaker,
Leadership.
It's leadership.
Leadership. We said 2-2. So you've already had one here, you had one here. We are left with leadership.
No.
A leader can yield to another person.
No problem. Mr. Speaker, since we have 2 other statements to be taken, okay. Mr. Speaker, are we adjourning after this statement, or we are taking the remaining 2 statements?
Let's finish this, then we will move on. Let's finish this statement.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, I was asking because if we were to adjourn after this, then we give opportunity to one, then leadership. So that we
let's finish with this statement. I'll come to you for direction. Okay. Let's finish this statement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to make few comments on the statement that has just been ably made. Mr. Speaker, to begin with, I must commend the maker.
But leader, hold on. The time is 2 o'clock. I'm directing that we extend sitting beyond 2, so we can go on.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity, and I thank the maker of the statement in bringing these matters of approval of MMDCs to the attention of the House. Mr. Speaker, the importance of the decentralization system in Ghana cannot be overemphasized. Mr. Speaker, we all know what Ghana used to be. And when in 1988, we went back for the district assembly concept, what Ghana is now. Mr. Speaker, the Constitution has decentralized governance to the grassroots. And Mr. Speaker, it has given the district or the local levels people the opportunity to take part in the decision-making process. Mr. Speaker, the president, the executive president that we are run, reside in the nation's capital. Mr. Speaker, he is an individual with structures. He might not know who is good and who is bad in Formina. He might not be able to know who is good and who is bad in Paga. He might not be able to know who will be able to represent the good people of Swami very well. It is against this background that the framers of the 1992 Constitution, in giving the power of appointment to the central government, that is the president, they decided to give the power of approval to the local people through their local representatives, the district assembly members. Mr. Speaker, we've gone so far in getting here, but where we are now, the approval processes of the MMDCs has become a matter under discussion. Mr. Speaker, if we pretend that we don't know what is happening in this country, we might be deceiving ourselves. Mr. Speaker, I belong to the Bana District Assembly. In approving the DCE for Bana District Assembly, Mr. Speaker, in doing the consultations, I was consulted. In the approval process, I was invited by government through the government rep at the regional level, and that's the regional minister. Oh, Honorable, you are a member of the Assembly. I hope you assist in making sure that we get successful elections. Mr. Speaker, the kind of cooperation that the regional minister gave, Mr. Speaker, I may belong to NDC or opposition, but as a official member of the Assembly, the regional minister did not say the MP has no vote, and therefore he doesn't matter. He approached me, and what I could also do, I did it. Mr. Speaker, in approving the nominee for the Bana District Assembly, the approval was 100% because the chiefs were highly respected, the MP for opposition was respected, the assembly members who were to give the approval were also respected. And all those consultations and engagement were done by government through the regional minister. So, Mr. Speaker, if anybody says, oh, government, apart from the nomination, had no role, government extended the role to further consultation, dialogue, and engagement. And, Mr. Speaker, that is a good thing. In doing so, Mr. Speaker, our region, the Blue region, happened to be one of the regions out of the 16 with very successful and peaceful elections throughout. Of the 11 assemblies that the minister is talking of, you will not get even one in Bono. But, Mr. Speaker, there are serious matters that we must engage our attention or our effort in. One, Mr. Speaker, there is a saying in Akan, say, "Yemfandi wechia usi agroyede." As we sit here, Mr. Speaker, if it doesn't concern you, say, oh, it's good. But if it has something to do with you, then you know how it pays or how it feels like. Like somebody was asked to define poverty. And he said, poverty cannot be defined unless you feel it. Mr. Speaker, 2 or 3 or 4 of our colleagues, as we speak, Mr. Speaker, the honorable member for Kumau, Honorable Baswa, was chased out of the assembly approval process. Mr. Speaker, should we gloss over this? If tomorrow, because he is in opposition, he's not in opposition, assuming that a member on this side was chased out of an approval process, Mr. Speaker, what do you think would have happened? As I speak to you, the dean or the rep of the Ashanti caucus, Honorable Anwire, was also chased out and manhandled in Dwabin. These are matters we should not just gloss over. If we have something to do in assisting the Minister for Local Government, he was not the Minister for Local Government yesterday. Somebody was. Today you are the Minister for Local Government. Tomorrow you may not. So if we have something to do to support you, we have to do. And therefore, if it's not going on well, and we want to say it, give honorable members the opportunity to say it. And Mr. Speaker, beyond this, apart from the approval, after the approval, I've been in leadership and this man we may need each other. Approval does not mean that's the end of it. The Honorable MP for Dwabusu, his effort will still be needed for as long as the development of Dwabusu is concerned. Honorable Baswa, his effort will still be needed so long as the development in Kumau is concerned. Honorable Anwire, his effort will still be needed. We all have a role to play in the development process. So if matters like this, concerns like this are raised, and we gloss over them, Mr. Speaker, we may not be able to build upon the decentralization concept that was handed over to us by the earlier practitioners. So on this note, Mr. Speaker, I want to make a case. The Minister for Local Government is saying he's not aware of those issues raised. A case has been raised in Dwabuso. A case has been raised in Kumau. A case has been raised in Dwabin. And so many. So, Speaker, we need to engage and iron out those issues. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, on a very good note, it will do this House a great service. He has been, the Minister for Local Government has been a General Secretary before. Therefore, he has a lot of institutional memory, which he will need other members, former local government and former assembly members and sitting MPs experience here to be added. We are building a nation. If this statement may be referred to the Committee of Local Government, so that together with the Minister for Local Government, we will engage. No. With all due respect, if there is the need for some reforms, the Speaker, the buck stop with us. If there is the need for some reforms, we'll be able to do the necessary consultations. The President has just said that he's still revisiting the matter of election of MMDCs. The Speaker, if there are matters on election through electoral college, how do we solve that? If because of this, there may be the need for us to initiate or expedite action on the election of the MMDC, on the universal adult suffrage. These are matters that we should not just sit down and say, we are going this way. So with this, Mr. Speaker, I want to plead or make a case if this statement will be referred to the Committee on Local Government, so that, Mr. Speaker, on the friendly manner, we'll engage the Minister for Local Government. Minister, this thing went well. This side didn't go on well. Because as I'm speaking, I said in the Bunu region, the elections went very successfully. What magic did the minister there do? And what magic couldn't the minister in other regions do? So you have to learn from best practices. But if you come and sit down, say, once the president mentions your name, then we impose you on the people. That's a seed of corruption. If I know very well that, Mr. Speaker, that the people did not vote for me, but I was imposed because the elections and all those things. Mr. Speaker, I may not own allegiance to the people. My allegiance will be to who nominated me and how I came to power. The entry into power is as important as how you use what you use the power for. On that note, Mr. Speaker, I still want to plead, let's refer this statement to the Committee for Local Government and Rural Development. I'm not saying let's call anybody on privileges. No. We want to improve upon the status quo. Why is it that 250 have been approved? And out of that 250, there are some police cases. Even today, if you go to social media, oh, me Jimisika, me Farmer. All these are matters that are going on. And if our elections, our children are watching these things, where are we taking our electoral processes to? And the worrying aspect is when the Minister for Local Government said, Electoral Commission supervise the elections. If the Independent Electoral Commission of this country is in charge of the approval process of MMDCs, Mr. Speaker, and we are seeing such practices in our electoral process, what happens to the credibility and integrity of our electoral processes? We have matters that we have to solve. Don't let us gloss over it. These are serious issues. The earlier we engage to think about what is the way forward, the better. Mr. Speaker, with these few words, I thank you for the opportunity.
This is not few words. Anyway, my leader.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to make few comments on the matter before us. Mr. Speaker, in principle, nothing stops a member of parliament from raising such issues. Indeed, it is a primary bona fide of an MP. But how it is presented becomes a problem in the manner as presented in this. Mr. Speaker, I have been an assemblyman before, and I've been a presiding member before. And I know, I was an elected assembly member and an elected presiding member. Mr. Speaker, I know that at the assembly is purely partisan. I know. We use party colors for the elections, but we know NPP, NDC, CPP, we know that we sponsor our party men and women to participate. I am saying so. If Honorable Kofi Adams, who has been a national organizer, can on 5 points of fellowship tell me that it is not true, I would want him to do so. Mr. Speaker, these are facts. Although we would not want to admit it because of the constitutionality of same, it is a reality. And if they want to say no, go ahead and say your no. I'll come back.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. My honorable colleague say they know. Mr. Speaker, if you know, you should prove with evidence. Mr. Speaker, I'm saying this because if in my constituency an NDC member contested an assembly election, does not mean that the party NDC supported him. He's an NDC member and he'll be an assembly member. Same way, an MPP member also contests and win. That doesn't mean that the party support that person. So if he has evidence to prove, he must do it. If not, they should just leave it that way, that yes, the people who go to that belong to political parties. Doesn't mean that political parties support them and then sponsor them to win those elections. So let's leave it as it is. There are party members who have won election to the assembly. Doesn't mean that they were sponsored by political parties. That's the point.
Mr. Speaker, I thank him for his comment, expressing his own views about what I have said. But just by way of reference, we last held assembly elections in 2019, and the General Secretary of the NDC party soon after came out publicly to say that the party won a certain percentage of the assembly election. To me, it is the statement of the General Secretary of the NDC, and I'm saying that this is a statement that he made publicly, and that
if he had no basis, he wouldn't have said so. Because after all, if the elections are non-partisan, how would the general secretary of an important party like NDC boldly say for public records that the party members have gotten a certain percentage of the elections held in the country? Mr. Speaker, it is on the basis. Mr. Speaker, you know, we'll come back. There should come point of order. No problem.
A leader is speaking. You want?
Yes, yes.
Anyway.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, who? Mr. Speaker, then can you speak?
No, let's give it to a honorable Bamboy.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, I'm the senior, so let me speak. Mr. Speaker, taking it from what you have just said, our leader is talking and we are up on point of order. That is the concern. This is our leader who has been here before us and we are learning from him. And for him to make sweeping statements and go free, that shouldn't be accepted. Mention the secretary of the NDC's name here, having made a certain comment. He has to provide evidence to buttress the allegation. The man is not here. And so we call on him as our learned and senior to do the needful. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Leader, but I believe the statement he's making is of judicial notice. Almost every Ghanaian heard it. You didn't hear. Anyway, leader, okay. Go on, and they are challenging you if you can.
Mr. Speaker, I have one publication at least. NDC won district assembly elections. Asiedun Ketia. I'm quoting. With the greatest respect, Mr. Speaker, reported modern Ghana. Date. Mr. Speaker, you know. Mr. Speaker, you know I would not make a statement when I'm not sure. The date is here.
Leader.
I am quote you said I should be fair. Mr. Speaker, the statement.
Leader. Probably the medium that he is coming up with, if you are challenging it. But this statement is a statement that has, for me, a lot of people, me, I heard it. So, probably the medium, I thought he is bringing is an issue.
We don't know what the honorable member is reading. He's reading from his phone. We don't know what he's reading. He should produce evidence. Let's all see it. That's the point. Probably he's not reading anything, but he's quoting from his head.
Mr. Speaker, NDC held its Congress 2011 in Sudan. There, the General Secretary of the party told the party audience, told his audience that the party won 60% of the 2010 assembly elections. And then again in 2019 elections, soon after the elections, the General Secretary again repeated the performance of the party in the supposed non-partisan elections. Mr. Speaker, the gravamen of my contention here is to the effect that we know that although these elections are not to be partisan, we, the partisan players, sponsor people to participate. It is a fact. On the basis of that, Mr. President told us a couple of years back that he wants us to now legislate on it, constitutionalize it, make it legal. That we have been doing backdoor. Let us bring it to the mainstream and get it done properly. If that is being done, obviously, we will know that, look, it doesn't take the president to nominate for somebody. I will not attempt to dispute the allegations of Honorable Akando. I respect him so much. I wasn't there. But I want to place on record that some individuals who are either politicians or political actors have made it their business of using such nominations to frustrate government business at the local government level. I dare say so. And Mr. Speaker, all manner of schemes are employed. And when you employ a scheme as a politician and you are tweeted, do you have to cry? Must you cry? Must you cry for who should listen to you? You deliberately go and pay losing bonus. And when it doesn't succeed, when people are crying for MMDCs at the local government level, we need them there. And some people attempt doing this to frustrate. We know it. I have been a presiding member before. Sometimes it can come from within or without. No, because I want us to face the fact, colleagues. Let's not pretend. What he has said is very important, but let us now lift the veil and deal with the issue. I've been there before, and I know. So, Mr. Speaker, I agree that there are problems down there, especially when it comes to the nomination. But
a leader, hold on. Edward,
Mr. Speaker,
what is it?
this is about the fifth, point of order which comes up to nothing. Won't you patiently sit down and listen to me in silence so that I finish? We allowed Ahmed to flow. What is this? Ahmed is your deputy whip. We allowed him to flow. And that is what you are doing to Mr. Speaker, what is his number? Mr. Speaker, what is his number? Mr. Speaker, my number is acting one. What is his number? He should sit down. Mr. Speaker, what is his number? He should sit down. What is your number? You are the back middle bank. Back middle bank. What is your number? Sit down.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, currently as we speak, we have a case before the police service that has to do with an appointee who openly indicated he had given out monies, and on the basis of that, he expected that they should have voted for him. Now you have, excuse me, Mr. Speaker, you have the deputy leader of the House openly indicating that people go out to pay losing bonuses. This is a crime. And you are saying it at the National Assembly's floor without evidence. The deputy leader must show proof and do same by going to the police or withdraw the statement, because you are scandalizing almost everybody. You are saying that people are paying bribes for people to vote against MMDCs, and this is the deputy leader of the Republic of Ghana's parliament.
The other side. So what is that? The other side.
Reframe that.
Mr. Speaker, an act that has gained notoriety in Ghana. Mr. Speaker, he can get his headline, no problem. Get your headline, no problem. Mr. Speaker, the point here is that things that we know, when an opportunity offers itself, let's discuss them so that we will get the solution we want. Ahmed said clearly, our democracy is on its journey to maturity. But if we do not put in place the necessary support blocks, we can't get there. So let's face the fact. Mr. Speaker, again, my problem I have with the statement is the partisan nature of the statement. Mr. Speaker, if there's an issue, why necessarily must you be called an MPP? Please, Mr. Speaker, it is never correct. It is never correct. Mr. Speaker, it is never correct. What we have to do is to be fair in the way we raise the matter. And that is what will get people to rally around it. But if you are not being fair, you are being partisan, you are blaming somebody. Mr. Speaker, look at the statement. Serious allegations being made, a secret meeting, and this and that and that. Is there any such evidence to that effect? This statement is full of innuendos. Mr. Speaker, full of innuendos. This statement, Mr. Speaker, if you read, nothing factual. And I'm asking that if the honorable maker of the statement was so minded, why didn't he report the matter to the police? If he was so minded, he was so minded, why hasn't he taken up the appropriate steps to address this matter? Mr. Speaker, yet a statement is here and calling for bipartisan or a committee, a referral to a committee. No. First of all, you must establish the basis upon which a committee of this House must invest resources into looking into your concern. So far, Mr. Speaker, the maker of the statement has failed. You go accusing people, you say there's a meeting, then you got information, and a certain EC official. Why haven't you reported the EC official to his bosses? You have not done so. You have not said you've done so.
Leader, hold.
Mr. Speaker, he made the statement. Mr. Speaker, a bad president should not be. Mr. Speaker, I have no problem yielding. Mr. Speaker, I have no problem yielding. I have no problem yielding. And Honorable Akando, with respect, at least your shouting must cease. I have no problem yielding. But what you must know is that you are the maker of the statement. Well, your seniors are advising you.
Honorable Leader.
Mr. Speaker, they are advising him and he should oblige the seniors. Your front bench is advising you. You don't treat your senior like that. Mr. Speaker,
Speaker, your mic.
What I'm saying is that, is there any provision in the standing orders that stipulates that the maker of the statement cannot come under any point of order?
Mr. Speaker, by parity of reasoning, as Mr. Speaker, he is the originator of the statement, and we.
What is your issue?
Most grateful, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I put it to the Deputy Majority Leader that he has not read the statement, including the Minister responsible for local government. Mr. Speaker, I have not, and I put it on record. If you read this statement, I have not said that the MPP government is involved. All I'm saying is that this is not a matter of MPP. This is not a matter of Akufo-Addo. Is it a matter of Akufo-Addo? Is it a matter of MPP? You should show me anywhere in the statement where I have stated that I've accused anybody or the president or the party. You don't read the statement and you are saying whatever you like. You should show me, this is the statement. I can give you a copy. Where I have stated that this issue has to do with MPP or it has to do with the president. I just said it is not an issue of the MPP. It is not an issue of the president. And then you throw your hands without reading the statement.
Well, leader.
Mr. Speaker, the statement has 4 pages unnumbered.
last sentence of the third page, unnumbered. Quote, "This is not a cause to be left at the doorstep of the executive. This is not an issue that should only be dealt with by the ruling MPP." Mr. Speaker, the point here is, Mr. Speaker, and I do not mark grammar in this house because I don't have it. But Mr. Speaker, if in the same vein you wanted to deal with a matter on its own strength, why didn't you mention NDC? And then you are saying ruling MPP. What has MPP got to do with this? What has this got to do with MPP? Why did you mention MPP? Then you say this is not MPP Ghana or Akufo. Mr. Speaker, the next line, you are saying that this is not MPP Ghana or Akufo-Addo's Ghana. What was the import of the statement? What was the import of the statement? You are referring to this is not an MPP Ghana or Akufo-Addo Ghana. And I'm saying that the introduction of this phrase was unnecessary. I do contend, and I stay there. Mr. Speaker, this is, Mr. Speaker, I will repeat for the records. Our colleagues have demonstrated time without number that they are intolerant. Ahmed spoke on his feet, made strong categorical statement. We listen to you, and when you get attacked, you be shouting. What is it? You better sit down, listen in silence, and learn from what we are also saying. Whenever you have the opportunity, you speak and speak loud. When somebody is speaking, you want to make noise and shout. What is that, Mr. Speaker?
Mr. Speaker,
You haven't given you the floor. I have not given you the floor.
Please,
I haven't given you the
we are
floor.
all honorable members of this house. If he stand up and said we are shouting and making noise, Mr. Speaker, what do you tell your colleague member of parliament that he's shouting and making noise? Mr. Speaker, so we should allow this to go. Please. Mr. Speaker, when we stand up to speak on point of order, please call us. We don't just stand up for anything. I wanted to know, is it a crime now to mention MPP in a statement? That why is it not? Why didn't he mention NDC in the statement? NDC is not in power. It's MPP that is ruling the Ghana now. So is it a crime to mention MPP in a statement? And then you stand up and said, we are making noise. Please, the honorable colleague should just withdraw that. We are equal here. You are a leader, I'm a leader. We are all members. We all contested an election and won. So please, withdraw that statement and I apologize to everybody. We are not shouting. We are making sense here.
Leader,
Mr. Speaker,
conclude, but just address this issue of making noise and let's conclude then.
Mr. Speaker, when I was on my feet, there was a loud shout from Honorable Akango. Mr. Speaker, you saw it. You saw it. Aim not disrupting me. How else should I address that particular matter? I've addressed it. Mr. Speaker, Honorable, it was not in a mic, but he did. Mr. Speaker, all the point we are making here is that the same matter, you can raise it to enable us both consensus. But when you decide to approach it in a manner as has been presented to us, it becomes problematic. We have a statement that, in fact, Mr. Speaker, it cannot stand any tests full of innuendos. A statement that, in fact, the maker himself did not give us proof that certain steps have been taken by him to correct the supposed wrong.
Yet, he comes to the House of Parliament to tell us that we should form a committee to investigate. Investigate what? Mr. Speaker, I expect our colleagues to immediately build consensus with us on the way forward regarding election of MMDCs. That is what is important. The last time, Mr. Speaker, this matter came up, they chickened out at the 11th hour. Mr. Speaker, they gave their word and they said their party Mr. Speaker, so if they are ready to get on board and it's direct elections, Mr. Speaker, our country will better set. Then put up your candidate. Let somebody else also put up a candidate. Then we know how to go about it. Again, Mr. Speaker, as Honorable Damboche said, and I need to emphasize this, it is not government that undertakes the process of confirmation. It is not government. It is not government. The presiding member is not government. The presiding...
Honorable leader, let's conclude, please. Honorable leader, let's conclude, please.
Mr. Speaker, they are making noise.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I have made a request that the member, the deputy majority leader, apologize that statement that our side of the house is making noise and shouting. Mr. Speaker, you ignore that. That has given him the power to continue to refer to us that we are making noise. We are again registering our disapproval of that statement, and we request again that he withdraw that portion that we are making. We are not making noise, please. We are not making noise. Mr. Speaker, please direct him to do the needful. He should do the proper thing.
Leader, when you say somebody is making noise, I mean, in your own assessment, what is it? When you were in school, if you are talking in a classroom,
making noise, and it means that whatever the person is saying has it's not sensible. That is what is meant by making noise.
Leader,
that is the meaning. Unless you have a different meaning, Mr. Speaker.
Well, the way I'm taking
so,
it
Mr. Speaker, what is your meaning at the center of making noise?
Well, I'm not here to actually take side that this making noise, but
so you agree with him that
I mean, members have been speaking along while.
So you agree with him that what he said is not actually saying anything against us, that what we are saying doesn't make any sense at all.
Yes, I'm not taking it as an insult.
But we have taken it as an insult to us.
Honorable Afenyo, please, let's do something for us to have our peace as a house. Please, just when they are saying they take it as an insult, just do something.
Mr. Speaker, there's noise in the room. There's noise in the room.
Well, Mr. Speaker,
Once they take it as an insult.
Mr. Speaker, they know I'll give them that which they so desire. That I shouldn't describe the overly disruptive and destructive behavior of some members which didn't enter into the mic as being noise. I shouldn't describe it as such. And I shouldn't describe that disruptive conduct as being shouted. Okay. Mr. Speaker, if that is so, it is so. Mr. Speaker.
Honorable minority leader. You see, at times, me sitting here can even say there's noise in the chamber, and I don't think we should construe that in as an insult. But like you are insisting that your side take it as an insult. That's why I've asked him to take it off. So he has done that.
Mr. Speaker.
Oh, he has done that.
No, Mr. Speaker. If the Honorable Deputy Leader says that if conditional, number 1, 2, replace that making noise to be destructive. Mr. Speaker, he said the same thing. We are not children here. We understand what he is doing. We should not accept anything. He should do the right thing. Why? Saying that I withdraw the statement, is it too difficult for him? And for him to give different definition to insult us further more, to say if that is all we want, conditional withdrawal. Please, Mr. Speaker.
Leader, do away with if.
Mr. Speaker, the disruptive conduct that I observed is what I described as noise. And colleagues take exception to describing same as noise. It is hereby withdrawn.
Very well. So
Mr.
conclude.
Speaker, I think that statement is enough of conclusion of my comments, since they do not want to hear me.
Yes. Honorable Leader, we still have 2 statements, but I don't know.
Mr. Speaker, we have agreed to call it a day.
Okay.
We've agreed to call it a day.
Then, so am I taking the indication that we are drawing the curtains?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, since this should not only be House of Lamentations, but rather House of Solutions. As I ended my contribution, I thought you were going to refer the statement to the local government committee so that we engage them. And even the contribution from the majority leader, that we should look for solutions and the way forward. When the committee engages, the Speaker, we may be able to bring recommendations and initiate even reforms processes. But if we lament, and after lamentation we end up, and that's the end, tomorrow, Mr. Speaker, we may be debating or contributing on similar statement like this in 4 years' time. Then did we go or did we come? So, Honorable Leader, I plead with you, if just a referral, I refer this to the local government committee, engage the Minister for Local Government and the colleagues concerned, bring some recommendations and reforms. Mr. Speaker, reforms are necessary in democratic dispensations. But if we just come and make comments, we lament and go. When they started with Honorable Baswa, we kept quiet. Yesterday it was Honorable Anhure. Who knows whose turn it will be tomorrow? Maybe tomorrow it will be Honorable Afenyomake. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is just humble application.
Well, Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I was seated, Honorable Dambocho and I had some discussions. Mr. Speaker, he firmly gave an indication to me, though not for the record, but because of his application, I need to bring that to your attention, that he's going to make a statement on this matter. So I believe that let's place this matter on ice, let him come with a statement, and then upon bringing the statement, we could now incorporate all this matter, because obviously a statement under 72 will definitely be referred so that we can have a complete thing. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Well. I was also thinking in line of that because I've taken some indication from Honorable Neil Lante also wanting to. So let's hold on. If the minister is coming up with a statement, I think it will give a broader discussion to the topic. Because personally, I also have other issues that we can all discuss together. So on that note, we are not making the referral. So the time is, yes.
Mr. Speaker, even though we informed the other two colleagues that their statements were to be taken today, were admitted by you today.
Yes.
But if because of the time, you can postpone them to tomorrow, that they will be informed earlier to make copies and make the copies available to members tomorrow for presentation.
So tomorrow, God's willing, we'll be taking one from Dr. Stephen Amoa and one from Honorable Yusuf Suleiman. So please prepare. Tomorrow we may add other statements, but yours will be taken as priority. So Dr. Amoa and Honorable Suleiman, tomorrow you take your statement. So on that note, we'll bring the curtains down, and the time is beyond 2. So you don't need to take a motion. We therefore go ahead to adjourn. So the House is accordingly adjourned to tomorrow, 10 a.m. in the forenoon.